You're watching Fanboy Versus with your hosts, JD Church, Nicole Hale, Chris Triplett, and Chris McFeely.
And you are listening to Fanboy Versus. I am your host, JD, joined by my amazing team of comic book aficionados, Chris Triplett, Chris McFeely, and Nicole.
Hello.
Welcome, gang.
I'm
Hello.
so popular, I don't need a last name.
No, you're like Madonna. You're just Nicole.
Well, we need to be distinguished.
Yeah, unfortunately, because these two yahoos have the same first name, we could just call them by the last name, which we do typically.
That's how it works in the show, yeah.
So,
You could just, give me a funny nickname or something, like Detective Chimp or something.
Detective Chimp.
Like DC for Detective Chimp.
Right. God. So does Fanboy versus the post-rapture, as it appears that none of us have disappeared into the great beyond. Though
You know what, I had the offer and I said, no, I want to stay down here with the rest of the sinners.
Right.
You know how to
actually, the rapture happened the day before, and the only person that was taken was Macho Man Randy Savage. So.
Macho Man Randy Savage went up there, he stopped it from happening.
Yes, he said, just take me, leave them. That's it.
Oh no, he threw Jesus to the ropes.
Yeah, he did, totally.
Got in there and stopped it.
But yeah, anyway.
Every time I see a Slim Jim from now on.
It was a pretty lame rapture, I'd have to say. So.
It was an uneventful one.
Yep. Nobody raptured. There were some people I would have not minded if they left,
Don't
but whatever.
finish that. Don't.
Anyway, so hey, we got a decent round of comics that we'll be talking about. Couple of highlights, good stuff this week I like. So in particular, Dan Jurgens back on Booster. We'll talk about that. The very issue that he was drawing while we talked to him. So very awesome there. But per usual, we go to the news first. Not a lot of comic news, much more in the realm of movie news. But McFeely, what do we got?
It's all movies, apart from one thing, which I'll save to the end. Moving-wise, we saw a 3D trailer for Green Lantern this week. Yes, another Green Lantern trailer already. And is it my imagination, or does every new passing trailer for this film actually make it look more epic?
They're doing good.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm more excited.
It looks good, but do you think that they're giving too much of the movie away with all these trailers?
They do seem to be there always seems to be like a substantial portion of new footage included with every new trailer. Like it took us until just the previous one to even see a Guardian, and in this one they're all over it. I mean, I think you've basically got the whole movie telegraphed in front of you there after when you put all these trailers together.
Well, I hope they're not giving too much away, especially. I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, we all probably know how it's.
Well, the thing is, I hate going to the movies, and the one good thing about the show is what you saw in the trailers. I hope it's not going to be that.
But I also hope that it's not like, okay, there's all this cool stuff in the trailer, and then it doesn't make it into the movie. You know?
Yes. No.
right.
Well, I think we could have figured
hate
out how the
seeing
movie
that.
was going to go anyway, as fans.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's going to be any great mystery. I mean, it's still going to be cool to see all that stuff on the big screen. And ultimately, what I'm interested in is what happens near the end as they try to, maybe try to work towards that sequel and get Sinestro into the, his more traditional role.
I think the progression is fairly obvious. The journey is the fun part.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just
But it looks
seeing
good.
in live action.
And
Is that Jeffrey Rush doing the narration on that trailer?
yeah, I think that, exactly. So, because he's playing Tomare, so, yeah.
Good choice.
I think so. I mean, I'm happy with, some of the voice choices and stuff for the film.
We've only heard like 2 at this point. I wonder how many other notable people we'll be hearing doing random Green Lanterns. Because I don't know how many guys are going to play any major kind of role in the film, but there's a lot of, the Green Lantern franchise is a godsend to toy makers because there are so many distinct individual Green Lanterns that you could just be making toys for years and years. And I don't know how many are in the in the film, but we've already seen a couple of toys of some weird characters that you would never have thought would have got a toy.
Well, and not only that, I mean, as far as like constructs as well, I mean, that's just like you can put out 15 different versions of Hal Jordan just with different, construct accessories. So
Have you seen some of the toys? They're some of them are like little transformers. I mean, the construct, it turns into one thing and like it turns into another or something. Like there's like there's like a scorpion and like something else I was looking at. It's like, what is this?
crazy.
Yeah, looking forward to that now. After some skepticism, looking forward to it now at this point.
Yeah.
I hope it's good. I mean, I really want DC to get something else out there.
Similarly, X-Men First Class really seems to be looking better and better as well. And that's not too far off now. That's what we'll not be talking about that next week or the week after.
Yeah.
I saw that trailer on the big screen this weekend, and so it looked good. X-Men.
We keep seeing a lot of little TV spots for that too.
I have more confidence in it now. I mean, I was not going to watch it, but
well, we're always all going to see it. Otherwise, another try and stop us.
Try and stop me, Smee. Don't try to stop me.
As far as films go, what else? We saw Tom Hardy as Bane this week, sort of.
Yep.
Yeah.
Over very shadowed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he wearing a luchador mask? Is that what that is?
No.
Looks more like a gas mask.
Yeah, it looks like some sort of breathing apparatus. So I don't know.
Perhaps Venom is gaseous here.
I don't know.
Cutting the tubes won't matter.
And he's muscly.
Yeah.
Be very muscly.
That's about all we can really say there, though.
Yeah.
It's that was a thing that happened, looks interesting, really can't call it until we see him properly, but he looked ripped enough to play the part.
It definitely is a picture of a ripped dude with a mask on thing. Yep.
Sticking with DC and live action, just today, scarce hours ago, saw a new picture from the now not happening Wonder Woman TV pilot. Apparently the script for this, which has been out there, which I haven't read because I have better things to do, that she would have worn like 3 different costumes in it at different points. And one of them would have been the full-on classic Wonder Woman costume. Mm-hmm. And this is the picture that we saw today. Yep. So, what do you think about that?
Those are definitely not diaper-like at all.
Yeah. It's an American bikini, Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I look at it and I go, yeah. I respond positively to it.
Yeah.
But
of course
I wonder,
you do,
is that the... I respond positively in my pants.
That looks great. Yeah, towel.
Is it because that I just know that that's Wonder Woman and I'm responding that way? I know I'm not looking at it objectively,
Yeah.
I know objectively trousers are superior.
I mean...
I like the look of this because it doesn't have such a pleather look to it. It's not so shiny.
It's kind of shiny.
It's kind of shiny,
know.
but I mean, it's not the full shine.
I mean, it's... Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think it's definitely got that... Yeah, those are Wonder Woman pants, and, yeah. But, again, that doesn't speak anything to what the series would have been like.
This thing isn't
Is there a
Yeah.
chance that the pilot might make it to the light of day, and we might actually get to see this at some point?
Well, there is. Well, there is in the sense that
Well,
I think
like maybe NBC would just like, hey, here's something Sunday night. There's nothing on. Play it. Boom.
possibly. Well, I mean, I think that can happen. I think with NBC
Internet or DVD or something.
I think with internet,
DVD.
I think with them passing on it, I think that other, someone else can pick it up. So.
Yeah, nobody's gonna pick it up, JD.
But I don't. Hey, the CW, it could happen. No.
I don't think it's gonna happen. I think that Raven show is more likely to happen at this point.
Yeah.
Remember, this was passed on and shelved before NBC finally went, all right. And then they've still passed on it again, so...
Yeah, and they've been notoriously not discerning on some of their other their action shows. So, yeah, I mean, I think in all likelihood it's dead, but, we can dream. That one pilot will make it on the internet somewhere.
Oh, God, yeah, the Aquaman one did, apparently. Not that I ever saw it. But.
Well, and they could, I don't see why more shows aren't doing this. Take a cue from what the creators of the Mortal Kombat Legacy is doing. There's such a potential for that kind of programming. You can sell your own advertising for it. Netflix is doing its own television series, per se. I mean, they're going to be doing their own series with Kevin Spacey.
But Mortal Kombat is making its money off the video game. This is an advert. This is an extended advert for the video game. Wonder Woman is but itself. It's going to make money that way.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. Like, they could go to DC and make a deal to say, hey, let's do this as a web series, and we can go at the advertising from that direction. I'm just saying,
put a TV budget into our web series for your comic that everybody currently hates and nobody ever really cares.
Well, I guess I'm more.
I'm sorry, JD.
I guess I'm more speaking.
I know you want more women superheroes out there.
McFeely.
This is not happening.
I don't piss in your Cheerios every morning. Okay, I don't. Give me a little. Give me a little bit of a dream.
Your Cheerios, what?
JD, maybe if you're lucky, they'll do that Lois Lane spin-off of Smallville.
Yes, there you go. Just the Lois Lane series.
Erica Durant.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Girlfriend Lois Lane, and then they'll do all the stories from the comics, including the one where she has to live for 24 hours as a black woman.
Awesome.
Wow.
Arcade 64 says that we need a Booster Gold spin-off from Smallville.
I agree wholeheartedly. But anyway, I'm sorry, not to hog up the news. All my point was with that, Wonder Woman or not, I think that it's a viable concept to do a web series like that. To do a web series, I think Mortal Kombat is making the case for web content that can be professionally done, professionally created, reach an audience, and be profitable. But I don't know. We'll see.
Profitable, though?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. The advertising and stuff, yeah, sure.
But is it, though? Numbers, figures, facts, citation needed.
McFeely, I don't piss in your Cheerios every morning. Okay.
Okay, moving on, then. It's actually, now that I think about it, it's all DC in the news this week. The last bit of news that I have is that, it's not. It's sort of anti-news. Is that I talked briefly last week about how Flashpoint number 5 is going to be released on the last week of August, and it's going to be the only comic DC brings out that week. Mm-hmm. And there's this overwhelming silence from the company about what's happening afterwards. And they say Flashpoint's being released on its own because it is that important to the DC universe. The interesting thing is, when you look across the August solicits, a lot of series are wrapping up their stories. I can't remember what series offhand. Sir, I know that I think the current Wonder Woman story was actually extended by 2 issues, so it would end in August. Detective Comics is double shipping in July so that it wraps up in time for August. There's a couple of other books are actively advertised as ending their stories in August. Now, it's got the old rumor mill spinning, and we've heard people suggesting like some kind of line-wide reboot to number 1 in September, which I'd have to say I was against. But that's what a lot of people are throwing around. It's mysterious, and I keep hearing this phrase, "the dark." What it is?
The dark?
The dark.
The dark side?
Back to Grant Morrison. Yeah, so it's anti-news because
it's not really news. I mean, they're not talking about it, but I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean that would seem, and I mean, you know, they even have been, like I said, some fans, but I think even some people at DC have been talking about this being a Age of Apocalypse level event. And we know that, I mean, as far as we can understand from this story, and like I said, that'll be something that we get into in Booster Gold. I mean, the actual timeline has been altered. Yeah, and even when you put it back, there's not to say that certain things won't still be, you know.
Yes, but you have just described every major DC event ever.
Oh, well, okay, fair enough.
Timmy says that they put everything on hold because of the Rapture.
Yeah, they weren't sure.
They didn't want to do all this work for, you know, and then have it go kaput.
Yeah. Also, that as another side bit to this, though, there was that Flashpoint map that was released late this week, which sort of is the map of the world, which gives like some of the occupation zones and different things like that for around the world.
I haven't even looked at that, so tell me about it.
Had a little bit of controversy with it.
There was a little bit of controversy.
What happened?
I think it. Well,
they showed the occupied places, like you know, like Aquaman's, like what was it? It was like Aquaman's. Atlantis has taken over, like
there's the
United Kingdom or something.
Yeah, and
Amazons,
then there's
and then they centered on Africa. And apparently Africa is the kingdom of the apes or something. And
I think
I haven't seen this either, so this is
some people got pissed at DC because of this.
I think if you don't know anything about
I mean that's clearly
DC
a reference to Guerrilla Grodd.
Oh,
exactly.
Yeah, Gorilla City and all that stuff.
So it's like if you don't know that or you're not aware of that, I can see where you might,
I guess,
you know, say that. But I think anybody that has read any level of DC comics for a while will just, I mean, that makes perfect sense to me. That's not even.
You know what it means immediately.
Yeah. You know, and I'm usually the one that's pretty sensitive to issues of race and sexuality. So, you know, even when I looked at this, I was like, that's, you know, I didn't even think about it in that way. I thought about it as in terms of that's where the ape empire is, you know, the smart apes. They're smarter than us.
64 said something about Captain Thunder equals Captain Planet plus He-Man. I don't get that.
Yeah, it is very similar in that respect. I mean, because like we talked about
the Captain Planet aspect, aside from there's a team of teens. No, actually, yeah, there's a team of teens who summon.
Yeah, they like you, and he's the heart, and I'm the power, the fire, or something, and we form.
Yeah.
Well, I made the He-Man joke last week. All right.
Yeah, but I think
Johnny as Battle Guy. If somebody can point me at the comic where he's going to be in, I'll check it out.
So,
you know. But
so are they making a toy of that guy? Because I would probably buy that one if it came with the Battle Cat looking dude.
Yeah, and the scarred up face, that'd be awesome. But no,
they don't have to get a Wonder Woman, you know, stand by him, you know, beating the crap out of him.
The other couple interesting things on this map, Brazil is Nazi controlled. Let's see, the Project S is out of Metropolis, which I'm assuming that's that Superman behind the wall thing. U.S. nuclear cache, the anomaly. There's an anomaly near Central City. Let's see, Coast City, home of the Sea Devils. Alaska is the land of the undead.
No zombies.
Yeah.
Crows and zombies.
Yeah,
they can't be doing too well up there.
There's an Amazon Atlantean war zone, which is, like I said, that encompasses basically everything. It's kind of centered around northern England and goes all the way out to like the tip of like Greenland and encompasses most of Europe and the northern parts of Africa. There's a Black Adam protectorate. There's the outsider-controlled India. There's Tibet, which is the suspected home of the Secret Seven. Republic of Japan.
Yeah, definitely crossed out of interesting things there a couple of places back.
Yeah, Red Star military base. So anyway, the Great 12 is in here as well, Asian capital. So anyway, there you go.
Did more than usual.
So there you go. But there's that as well. So yeah, I think
Jonathan Hickman would make.
Yeah. So it's interesting, but
legends and maps.
We see this chalkboard again. I don't know. I'll talk about that when we get into Booster, though, because there's a couple of things on there that now I'm kind of interested in. So, and I will mention that Brian Kilby was very mad at us for not spoiling the end of Flashpoint last week. Which,
does he have to read it now? Is he so mad that he had to read it?
Well, he already read it. He wanted us to talk about it because he was interested in our points. And this is a good time to bring it up.
Why don't we
Yeah,
just
we can
talk
bring it
about
up now
it
while
today?
we're talking about it.
Well, not just that, but here's my point on spoilers. And this is just for our audience and then for Brian Kilby as well, because he's listening right now. But here's my deal. If the ending, if we can't go any farther than really saying, that's cool, that's interesting, I'm not really concerned about spoiling it. And that's really all we could have done. So the ending of Flashpoint, we find out that Batman in this universe is Thomas Wayne, not Bruce. Right, not Bruce Wayne.
Bruce got gunned down, not Thomas.
Right, exactly.
Oh my
Now,
God.
what could we have said about that other than to say, oh my God, that's cool?
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
That's
But-
pretty
You
awesome.
know,
I mean,
the
that-
issue had hit the ground running and been just a generally very solid, enjoyable comic that established its whole concept nice and
because-
quick. But that was the real punch that really made you go, "Good Lord!" Let's go
Yeah.
back for more of
Because
this."
it just goes to prove how much this new universe has changed everything.
Right.
No wonder poor Barry is confused.
But I think that we said that we didn't say what it was, but at least we said it was cool, it was really interesting. And that's all we could have said, even if we would have said it. So that's where I'm saying, I think that's where I draw the line. If the ending of the comic, there's enough information for us there to tie it to something else, to talk about, then we're going to talk about that ending. But if it's nothing but a punch in the face and something that's really cool, I'm not going to spoil it because I want to give our listeners a chance, or at least something to read.
I'm glad I wasn't spoiled on it because like that was the thing that made me think like, yeah, this is gonna be good. I need to pick up the next issue now.
So just for our listeners that maybe were disappointed that we didn't talk about it, and I think even now we're saying it, and what are we saying other than, wow, that's really cool? Because we don't know anything else about it yet. You know, that's going to come in later issues, and we'll discuss it more. But anyway, so there you go, Brian. Shut up. So
certainly makes the miniseries about him sound like it'll be a bit more interesting.
yeah, I know. I kind of want to. I almost, if I wasn't already buying a ton of comics, I would like kind of be interested in getting that Batman series now. So, but
Yeah,
anyway,
I mean, the first issue of Flashpoint didn't do much to convince me to buy a lot of other minis.
no.
In fact, I'm still not, as long as somebody doesn't tell me where Captain Thunder might be found.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is probably nowhere else. Damn it.
I think McFeely's found a new bromance, Captain Thunder.
Well, I think Captain Marvel's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so, you know.
Just, yeah, exactly. And I mean, that character is just interesting because it's like a little bit of that little kid wish fulfillment kind of stuff in it with anyway. But yeah, I think that's going to be interesting. He just looks badass. He's got all those scars and stuff on his face, and obviously got into a fight with Wonder Woman at some point. It's going to be cool.
I want to see that happen in the comic book.
Hell yeah. Okay, so I guess that's it.
And just to let you know, Thor has fallen off his throne at the box office.
It's not number one anymore? What passed him
number
up?
Number three.
Whoa, 1 to 3? Uh-oh.
Pirates of the Caribbean
Oh.
and Bridesmaids.
Well,
Bridesmaids?
I don't know what that is.
Wow.
Thor's been out for like 3 weeks now.
Yeah, no.
But it's
So,
still got the number one movie of the year, too. It's weird.
yeah. What's number one of the year right now?
Fast
Transformers
Five
is
still.
probably going to crush it.
Yeah, Transformers.
Fast Five, as of right now, is beating it by 41 million.
Oh, it'll pass that. Give it
Just
another
41
week or so. Yeah. So, okay. Well, I guess it's review time then. That's all our news, correct?
Yep, that's all I've got, unless you guys can think of anything else. I
don't
remember
think
hearing
so.
anything else this week.
Yeah, can't remember hearing anything else.
No other grand controversy.
So, quiet week.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right,
But
Triplet.
then we're in the run up to convention season now, so
Yes.
the news will be quite thin on the ground before the next big batch of reveals comes out round
Yeah.
San Diego, which is when next month sometime.
Yeah, I think so. July.
Yeah.
So
July.
yeah.
Is it July? June.
So-
Well, still.
Yeah. It's gonna be big, huge, good stuff. All right, Triplet. That'll be you, sir.
It's comic time.
It's comic time. It's comic time. Comic time. So you get a song
we need,
here.
Like a theme. Brian, get to work on
I know.
that. Something that's like, it's comic time.
We'll just all do that.
Something 1980s, which I would prefer.
We'll just do that each week. We'll get to this point and it'll be like, comic time. Okay. We will never do that again. I'm sorry.
Nah. So I've read Ultimate Spidey and Avengers, and I guess I'll just go ahead and just get Avengers out of the way because I think I kind of liked Ultimate Spidey a little bit better. I mean, there's nothing really wrong with Avengers, but again, it's like an issue has gone by and not much feels like it's happened. But so did you guys read Avengers 13?
Yes.
No.
No.
Well, actually, no, it's not Avengers. I'm sorry. Oh, I forgot. I need to review Amazing Spider-Man because one of you guys is doing Avengers.
That's right.
No, nobody's doing Avengers.
Nobody cares about Avengers.
Oh, nobody's doing Avengers?
No.
Is it that
Kind of
interesting?
all over the place.
Is it that important?
Well, I think it's worth just kind of mentioning.
Wait, I thought Nicole, you were doing Avengers, weren't you?
It's certainly better than it's been.
I thought Nicole was doing Avengers because she was.
The Avengers, yeah, Fear Itself one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
were doing
that's the
Avengers?
one.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, see-
Okay, never mind.
So- Sorry.
Yeah.
We obviously do a lot of preparation for this show.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, like take your neurotoxin and erase your minds like Lex Luthor on Smallville.
Right,
That didn't happen.
Where's my flasher memory messer upper thing? I need to know.
And let's just jump into Ultimate Spider-Man then.
Yay!
Did you guys read the next chapter of The Death of Spider-Man?
Yes.
Awesome.
No.
So
Nobody else
why
does.
aren't you reading it, dude? I mean, come on, it's actually not that bad.
I don't read Ultimate stuff.
You should start reading Ultimate stuff.
Do you know how many comics I get each week?
Motherfucker.
Dear God. No, I don't edit this show, Cassius. It's just you're saying I should edit that out, and you know what? I don't because that's like work.
No,
So anyway,
If it makes you feel better, I rarely read any Spider-Man. So
yeah. No, I don't do the Ultimate Universe. It's cool and all. I'm not saying anything bad about it. I'm just saying, you know.
Jonathan Hickman.
I know that's tempting. Believe me, that's tempting, but not enough. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, so it's the next chapter of The Death of Spider-Man, and I think we've only got 2 to go. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I believe that is correct.
Yeah, and so this is the next issue after the big ending where Spidey gets shot by the Punisher while he was trying to say...
He's not dead yet.
Oh,
Not dead yet. No.
I was hoping.
I was kind of hoping like every issue from now on would end with him basically teasing that he's gonna die. Like yeah, this one should have ended with like a bus falling on him, but then it explodes or something. Or like he fell into like a vat of acid, or maybe a killer white shark jumps out of like the lake or something and like bites him or something.
Wait, you could do like you should do like a like just one of those endless deals with like the machines that has like all the little bits. So it's just like he's wandering from one catastrophe to the other, staggering, gets hit in the head with something, and that causes him to stagger in front of a bus, and then the bus knocks him down a sewer drain, and then yeah, that'd be great.
It needed to be basically like this old Silver Age-ish looking cover of Batman. I think it was Brave and the Bold or something, where like the many deaths of Robin, and there's like Robin painting, there's like Robin like drowning and stuff, and it's just like it needed to be something like that.
That'd be awesome.
But so like basically, yeah, oh yeah, he's not dead, and I again feel like I'm missing an issue. Like maybe I should be reading the stupid Ultimates book too or something.
I gave that a quick leaf, and I'm still not entirely sure how this fits in around it, but it does pick up directly afterwards, where Captain America like picks him up and thanks him, and comes to he said, you know, it's basically the climax of the whole Captain America is not a big fan of Spidey thing in another comic by saying after seeing that Spidey willfully threw himself in front of a bullet for him, he says, when you grow up, you'll be the best of us.
But where was that in this issue, though?
Exactly. Yeah. So
I mean,
I think
he woke
something
up,
else
he
may
was
have.
like,
Yeah.
He's like, where's Captain America? I mean, seeing as how I threw myself in front of a bullet for him, and he's like talking like, where is he? And it's like, why did they leave me?
Maybe something might have exploded again or something.
Like, it's like they didn't even offer to like take care of me or something. Oh, I just took a bullet for you and all that.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks.
See you around.
Yeah, this ain't much of a in the way of working synchronized independent stories.
No. So he gets up, he finds the strength to basically, keep on going, and he, oh, my dog's barking now. Hear it?
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
He doesn't like Ultimate either.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, Captain America's a dick.
Kill him. Yeah, but, so he's trying to get himself to a hospital, and he's realized that, okay, this is it. When I go to the hospital, they're going to make me take my mask off. My career as Spider-Man's over. I can't be Peter Parker.
You might say his career was dead.
Yeah. But before he can even go, he sees basically he sees the Sinister Six guys flying by. Which actually in a previous scene, they had I think it was the Mad Thinker. They went and
Tinkerer.
The Tinkerer, I'm sorry, and he went to talk to him, and they basically got equipment like specifically Vulture's Vulture suit. It was kind of a neat little scene because the Tinkerer is like, you never pay me for anything. And I can't sell your suit because it won't fit anybody else, so just take it. You gotta get back in the game so I can get my money.
You said they were flying by, and I just had images of them on bikes. And no? Okay.
And the reason he sees them fly by is they're heading to his house. And so Spidey's like, shit. Well, he doesn't say shit, but he's basically
wow, maybe I should be reading this.
and a very Spidey thing, like he webs up his wound and he...
saying shit. It's a very Spidey thing
to
say.
Webs up his wound and he goes in the direction after him. Which the next scene we see basically what's happened with Iceman and Human Torch.
Most of the rest of the comic, that is.
Yeah. So basically, they'd gone out. It kind of talked like they'd gone out like on a double date or something with some girls, and Human Torch doesn't answer his cell phone because he makes the reference that every time he'd flame on, he'd melt his cell phone or something. So I guess he just quit carrying it around with him or something. So Aunt May couldn't call him and say, hey, you need to get somewhere safe. Crap's about to come down or something. So they come back to the house. They find a note that Gwen had left that said, get out of the house, get somewhere safe. And of course, when they're leaving, who shows up? Bum bum bum. The Sinister Five. Yeah, I said 5 because Doc Ock's dead.
It's happened last issue, right?
Yeah, it happened last.
Yeah.
Was it last issue? Yeah, I think.
Yeah,
and,
Osborn.
Osborn.
Was it the issue before?
Well,
I think it was the issue before last. That yeah.
Was it? Yeah, but
Yeah, I think so.
Green Goblin beat him to death.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
But so the rest of the issue is basically just a fight with Human Torch and Iceman fighting these guys, and them just trying to find Peter Parker. Of course,
Human Torch kicks Osborn's ass as well, which is kind of awesome. Seriously,
I was kind of
because
surprised about that.
Osborn is such a bastard who never gets his comeuppance.
I was kind of surprised by that. I thought this was the reason that these characters are here. Is they're gonna get the crap kicked out of them, because what else have they been doing? They haven't been doing anything. So I thought, well, maybe they're just super powered friends of Peter's that's just gonna get the crap kicked out of them by the Green Goblin. But no.
Well, yeah, the other characters kick the crap out of them.
Yeah.
Human Torch can't stand up to a big bucket of sand emptied on top of him, and Iceman's powers don't mix with Electro's very well.
Kind of useless when you're fighting Electro. Yeah. And so, of course, Spidey shows up, and they start to attack him, and the Vulture lunges at him. It's like, you broke my life! I'm gonna kill you! And Spidey just webs him in the face and just throws him. Looks like he throws him a mile away from the.
Yeah, he just whips him over the horizon.
And then it basically ends with Spidey with his mask off saying, "Who's next?" And that's the end of the issue.
Kind of.
Wow.
So,
gripping his side and whimpering as he says it.
Oh yeah, I mean he's about had it. He looks like all it takes is basically Sandman pummeling him and he's had it or something.
Yeah,
so it'll be interesting to see how this is gonna be extended by the next 2 issues to see where they go with that. I mean, obviously he's gonna have to take them all on his own, and then maybe he'll be able to like make it like outsmart him or something, and then I guess like Green Goblin's gonna wake up, and then it'll be like him and Goblin maybe final ship or something.
Maybe Osborn will die this time.
Maybe. Yeah. But again, great. Some more Mark Bagley art. So glad he's back. Please stay. Please stay for a while.
He's not, isn't he? I mean, he's done after
I think
death,
he's done for this. I mean, who's doing it when it comes back with the new Spidey? Do we know?
Sarah Pacelli's on the art, and so she was the one who took over from David LaFuente for a short period of time before Bagley came back. So not much of a change creatively on Amazing Spider-Man and Ultimate Spider-Man.
Okay. But yeah, that's Ultimate Spidey. You're still good. Be interested to see what happens next. So I guess I'm not doing Avengers, so I'll talk about Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah, you will.
Did everybody read Amazing Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
I'm sold on Christos Gage.
That issue was pretty good.
Oh, man.
So, like, if Dan Slott gets, like, tired or something and wants to take, like, a couple of months off, are we okay with Gage coming back?
Oh, I'm yeah.
I'm always singing the praises of Christos Gage, guys.
Yeah.
You all just don't be listening.
Oh, I believe it. It's just, I mean, I read that first issue and it was okay. I guess maybe I should have stuck with it, but this was hilarious. And I'll be interested to ask Ms. Feely, I mean, how much, before we get into this, but how much would you say of the interaction of this team with Spider-Man is the way they are in Avengers Academy, or how much was it, more of just the tone of this being a Spider-Man?
I think it's about 50-50 because they don't normally interact with people that's on Spider-Man's level. Normally the people that they interact with are people who actually have answers for these questions.
Okay.
But it's obvious. It's a very true representation of the characters. Metal in particular.
So they're basically all kind of assholes.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Like they might be villains.
Yeah.
But so basically, the issue starts with the Fantastic Fours fighting a big monkey, that apparently came from the microverse. He grew from the microverse into our world, and they're trying to take him down. And like Giant Man shows up and says, "Hey, I think a Invisible Woman has her invisible shield like over the monkey or something." And then like he says, "Hey, drop the shield," and he basically just punches the monkey out, as full big Giant Man dude. And
everything is better with monkeys.
Oh yeah. So he basically he's there not so much to help him out, but really that he needs a substitute teacher for the Avengers Academy. Because like all the regular teachers, which would be like Tigra or somebody, and is Speedball one of them? Is Speedball one of the teachers?
Yep.
I don't know. I'm asking you read the book. I guess all of them are like busy or something. They need a substitute. So he first asks Reed, but Reed says, "Oh yeah, now I'm gonna be too busy. I got to find out why monkeys are growing out of the microverse into the real world." And then he basically asks the Thing, says, "Hey, you'd be great."
No, there's where you're missing that great moment because he's like, "No, I thought we ought to have someone who's also an Avenger and stuff as well." And Peter had been earlier thinking about how he wanted to get back into teaching and how much he loved being a teacher. So Peter starts to almost speak up and say, that'd be great.
To, interrupt him a couple of times, and he just doesn't listen, and he's just asking the Thing.
And he's like, "So yeah, what do you think, Ben?" And Peter's like, "Hey."
Wait a minute.
On a side note, Giant Man, now when he turns really, really small, he keeps the proportional strength of a man, right?
When he turns small?
Like when he goes really tiny, right?
It's like Ant-Man or
something? Yeah, he keeps, it's like the
so, shouldn't he...
Actually, I'm not totally sure. No, I think that's the Atom. I don't think Ant-Man does that.
I thought he did. Yeah, he did, because that's how he, fights stuff, doesn't he? When he's still small, it beats...
Because I would fight stuff. He calls ants down, and they say
he has ants call down and attack people.
Okay, never mind. Because I was gonna say, wouldn't it be funny if he kept his proportional strength when he was really giant? So even though he tried to hit that monkey really hard, it wouldn't really. No, okay. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Then like tear his arm off.
I know. Like he punches it and like breaks his arm. Like, oh, I have a proportional strength of a man as a giant. That's the way it would work in my universe. Anyway.
Yeah, so Giant Man needs a sub for the Avengers Academy guys, and he eventually like the conversation switches, and like Spidey says something like, what are you talking about? I'm an Avenger and a member of the Fantastic Four, and I even have a teacher's license. He says, you do? He says, yeah. He says like, well, okay, we're gonna pick you. We'll pick you, and you can come in and do it. And I think he mentioned something like how he'll be like the best teacher because he's kind of like the example of what the heroes shouldn't do.
You've already made virtually every mistake a young hero could possibly make.
Well, I love that too because
your ill-advised professional wrestling career, a menace, which seems to have stuck. The Spider-Mobile.
The Spider-Mobile. Well, and I love this though about like that character though because you get the feeling like he's not really thinking about it in terms of like being rude. He's really like honestly like saying like you've learned these life lessons and you can bring this to the kid. It's not like it's like he's trying to be a dick. I mean, he's being a dick, but he's not like trying to be a dick. He's all like, you've made so many mistakes. This would be excellent. You can help.
And then all this happens, and this is like all great stuff, but like even before he even gets to the classroom, but when he gets to the classroom, that stuff is just gold.
Oh my god!
I love all the little moments here. So he's like talking to him, and he's like trying to think of things to say, and he's like kind of nervous, and God, I can't remember what was the first thing that he starts talking about.
I mean, just even
examples. He says, "Oh yeah, in this example, if you're
Well, I mean, just first of all, the art, like that one page where you can see him standing in front of the whole class, and it just seems like there's this massive void between Spider-Man and the class. I mean, you could just feel the emptiness, because he's like, yeah.
It's like, is that
so
backwards?
But like his first example here is like, so let's say you're in school and you're in your secret identity, and a jock gives you a wedgie in front of a bunch of hot girls and calls you an egghead. And then he's like, just as like an example, not from real life.
Yeah, this didn't really happen.
But what would you do? And then, like, whoever the electric guy is like, well, I'd tell him the 50s called and said they wanted their insult back, and then I'd zack him where the crack meets his back. He's like, yeah, but you got to protect your secret identity. And they're like, secret identities went out. Like everybody knows who we are. So, I mean, but just this, and like another great example is where he's saying, they're asking him about, his past or his origin or whatever. And he's saying, she's like, well, why didn't you use your powers to make money? Because then you could still fight crime, but you could also like help people with malaria. And he's like, well, you could have
cured diseases by like donating money to like
and he's like, well, I'd have to protect my secret identity. And they're like, oh no, you could like set up a dummy corporation under like a fake name, and then you could have them pay you under that name. It'd be like Spider-Man LLC, and he's just that beautiful blank panel where he's just like, so who wants to go on patrol? So let's get out of here. It's brilliant.
Because like I always hear this story about like Stan Lee talking about the creation of Spider-Man, and he always tells the story about how, he couldn't make any money off of it because they would write him a check, and then no one's gonna let you cash a check if you write Spider-Man on it. And that one like little scene where the dude's like, oh yeah, you could just start it up like a limited liability company. You could have done this and that, and then you could have took the money from that. It was just
it's not easy to do when you're 15 years old. So.
Yeah. Well, but it is kind of funny because
being smart mouths, but really, a lot of what they're saying actually has any weight.
No.
It's just so funny the way they say
it. They find themselves in any of these situations or actually try to do it. Stryker's answer business because his mother treats him like a business, like another commodity to be shipped and ferried around. Like that's his twisted upbringing reflecting on that. But I know that because I've read Avengers Academy.
Oh, and then there's like the moment where like is it Reptile or something says like, oh, you're like my favorite hero, and I think somebody says something about with great power comes great responsibility.
Yes.
Like, oh yeah, we've heard that before.
Yeah, you stole that from Giant Man.
Says that he says you stole it from him, or something.
He's like, what? You stole that from me. It's great. But they end up going out on patrol, and it actually kind of gets awesome from there, though. I mean,
yeah.
What is this solid metal?
That's new. That's new.
Oh, like they
Anyway, sorry, I'm
go
triple
on
A.
patrol and they find like basically somebody's getting mugged is what it looks like. And what's his name? Is it Metal? Was that his name?
Yeah, Metal. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got the catchphrase when he's like punching the dude, solid metal. It's like I just made that up. What do you think? It sucks.
Yeah.
And like Spidey's like saying, "Oh God, you did it all wrong. You broke that dude's jaw, and somebody could have gotten shot. You didn't think about what you were doing." And like they're like talking about how, "Oh, this isn't the first time we've done this." And hey, my skin's made of metal, so the bullets I was in front of somebody, so they weren't gonna get shot. And he's basically just criticizing them for what they were doing. And God, what? I can't remember what else.
The hostage pipes up and says, "Can I just say I'm very satisfied with their performance?" No, you can't.
No.
Yeah. So it's like a very, very
comedic
issue up until I guess the end, and then the end things start to get kind of serious.
Yeah, when Psycho Man shows up.
Yeah. What's really great is that Psycho Man shows up, and we just saw Psycho Man
Yeah, just an issue or two.
Yeah, he just escaped from the microverse. Yeah.
And it was established that hey, Psycho Man's gonna show up. Wow, now he's back, and it kind of creates the opportunity that this doesn't really feel like a filler issue.
Yeah, that's it exactly.
Yeah.
Even though
feels
it's a different writer.
Even though it's a different writer, it feels like this is just a continuation of the story. It works really well, and it's great because they've never fought Psycho Man before, and never I guess experienced his powers, and Spidey's trying to warn them, and it's they just run of course trying to punch him and everything. And then his powers just drives them kind of crazy. You've got one guy trying to kill the other person because he's mad at him, and you've got another person that's cowering in fear. Somebody makes a comment about he has an iPad that now has hate, fear, and all that the big buttons on it.
But what Psycho Man always had. It was used to be a big box, but now he's obviously upgraded.
Yeah. And so pretty much it's just a big fight, and then we think Spidey's got him because Spidey he's encountered Psycho Man before, so he kind of overcomes, and he has a nice little kind of Spider-Man moment where it's there's it doesn't matter how much he makes him afraid, the worst things already happened to him, and he kind of goes back to of course Uncle Ben thing. So you can't do anything worse to me, so Spidey just beats it back and finds a way to kind of beat on Psycho Man, but then Psycho Man.
It's if you ever needed a lesson in why Spider-Man is good, just Dan Slott as a character. I mean, never mind stories, just never mind anything else. I just mean as a hero, as a person, as somebody with something that drives him. Dan Slott just and Christos Gage in this particular instance just gets that completely.
Yeah, and so we think he's got him, but then of course Psycho Man puts his powers towards basically the Avengers Academy group, and they all now are coming at Spidey to kill him, and we got our to be continued. And, but yeah, great issue. I mean, it was a really good issue. I enjoyed it a lot.
I'm still really liking this whole sticking with the loss of the spider sense and how that I mean it keeps coming up. It's showing its problems in different ways and things for him. Yeah. I mean, I fully believe that he will get it back after Spider Island, but I think that's been an interesting character twist for the next few months and the last few months even, for the character to have that gone, because it's such an integral part of his power set that I don't think he ever really appreciated it that much. Yeah, it was always it was just so much of a thing, and I don't think he ever really realized how much of his powers came from that, and for him to have lost it has been really interesting.
Is he going to get it back during the whole, what is it, Spider Island? Do you think that's when he's
seems to be
back?
the popular theory, that he'll get it back somehow.
Yeah, I
That'd
totally
be,
think so.
Thing that changes, I guess, whatever bad stuff that's going down with Spider Island. It's like, oh, he got his spider sense back. Now he can like fight them and he can win the day.
Yeah.
I think he'll get it back at the end of it though, or during the process of it. But I mean, because that's the whole thing is like everybody's going to start to get these powers. So
Yeah.
I think that somehow along with that he'll get it restored.
And we didn't get another one of those little backup stories that looked like this time leading into Spider Island. But we did get I thought it was a really cool backup story. I mean, it was like basically a completely silent issue where it's basically just Spidey going through like a day of Spidey's life in which he basically makes a list of everything he needs to do. And it's just kind of funny, you know.
Including fighting Think Bang Boom.
Yeah. And great art. I mean, art's really
Oh yeah,
really
this is Javier Polito again. We are.
Yeah, that's good stuff. There's a lot of
nothing
fun.
major in it, but like a really, really cool story, and I liked it, especially at the end where he lays down and then on his list it says sleep. You know, get in some sleep.
Nice.
But yeah, that's amazing.
The
that's
first
fun.
page goes to pains to mention that Psycho Man's brief appearance in this backup is complete coincidence.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he does fight Spidey. He does fight Psycho Man in the backup.
Yeah.
Like a team up with like the Thane or something is what it looked like.
Yeah. So,
Random team up.
nice.
Yeah. But good stuff.
Okay.
That's it.
Nice.
I'm done.
All right, Nicole.
My turn,
What should be
yay.
having?
I'm going to start off with the one, I think I'm the only one that read this one, but it's the first of 8 of the Snake Eyes, G.I. Joe Civil War Snake Eyes that's going on. Let me first say that the artwork in this is totally amazing. Robert Atkins, beautiful, beautiful job. I mean, the very first page you see Snake Eyes hanging off a cliff, and it's very well detailed. You see Snake Eyes has a small group of Joes going into, I'm going to mispronunciate this, Zinzagabadma? It's yeah.
Gesundheit.
Yeah. Apparently, it is the 13th highest point on the planet, and it's very dangerous. They're syncing out a signal that they've received or a message that they've received that something's going on with Cobra. Imagine that. G.I. Joe has found out something's going on with Cobra. I know. Breaking news there. So basically, you see them trying to get up this practically impossible mountain. Big, huge snowstorm coming in the way. And, of course, our little Mary Jane Snake Eyes, he does everything totally cool. And yeah.
Mary Sue, you mean?
Yeah. He just
What?
does he's a Mary Sue. He just does nothing wrong, you know? So that's what I'm saying. So they're talking about what's going on up here. And basically they're finding out that the people that killed Snake Eyes men was Kali Khan. Kali Khan is a boss for a Polynesian group. So, and then so they're talking about that, and then while they're talking about that, they do go into a flashback, which involves Scarlet finding the slain men of Snake Eyes, and they find a weird marking that is a part of the Hindi alphabet. That's a clue to what's going on, and then they go back to the present time again, where they find a really odd garage in the mountain. I don't know if you can see that. And they're trying to figure out what could hold this. They have no way to enter, no way to exit, and they're afraid if they blow it up, there's going to be the mountain caving in on them. So they're trying to get inside. And then they're deciding, well, they're going to have to camp out, which to me is like completely crazy because they have to hang themselves from the cliffs. It's like, So they're thinking they have a good 3 days to wait until they find someone coming into the mountain. Don't ask me. That just sounds nasty. So again, and then we go into another flashback about Snake Eyes when he meets up with the Norari Syndicate, part of Kali Khan's group. And he finds out that another person has got another tattoo of that's the Hindu symbol that they're talking about. And so they're showing that this actually leads to one of two places. One of them is Rajasthan and that Zinzaxbama. I'm so sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. I'm botching it. And then again, we go into another flashback with Scarlet. Scarlet's getting jealous because he did not take her. He decided to take Helix. So we got kind of this love triangle going on. She's thinking, oh, he's interested in her and not me now. Woo! And then back to the present, so you see Helix in all of her glory, thinking about Snake Eyes. So again, you see this little love triangle happen between here. And then all of a sudden something does happen. You see the two Cobra agents coming out of the garage, and they figure out, well, we're going to sabotage them. So they set up this signal. This was one of the funniest things. So they set up the signal to play music, and it is the Carpenters. They have the
Awesome.
Carpenters playing to learn to pretty much their death. So Cobra takes out, not Cobra, the Joes take out the Cobra agents to get in. And that is basically it. It's a good setup to know, you see a little bit of Snake Eyes' background. Nothing too major except for the little love triangle going on. But one of the best things in here is the very last line says, "This is insane. How do we let a guy that never says a word talk us into this?" I love that line. So,
Now, who's the writer on this?
The writer is Chuck Dixon.
Oh, Chuck Dixon. Okay. Right.
Huh.
Yeah,
Been on Joe before,
Robert
right?
Atkins. Yeah, Robert Atkins and Simon Goff did the artwork on it. I tell you, if you don't pick it, it's a great setup to what is going to be happening in this 8 issues. But the artwork is just amazing to me. Some of the most brilliant shading and penciling, and I guess this is something that's going on with the G.I. Joe, the Cobra Civil War. Each one you get like a layout poster that you could get. So here you got Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow in this one.
I'm a little surprised to hear that it's only 8 issues long, because everything has called this an ongoing so far.
Yeah, so far they've only listed 8.
It says like 1 of 8 on the cover now.
Yeah, so I'm loving this. This is going to be a great.
I don't know how you could make an ongoing out of Snake Eyes anyway.
Like I said, he to me is a Mary Sue. He does no wrong, but that's what I'm hoping this series is going to do. I hope the series shows that Snake Eyes does have a weakness.
I think they need to change it from Mary Sue to a Snake Eyes, because I think that would sound so much better. Oh yeah, so-and-so's a Snake Eyes. He can do no wrong.
Yeah, there you go.
But G.I. Joe Renegades is the perfect example of how you can do that.
Oh yes, he does nothing wrong in that show. So.
Not a thing. But he only ever pops up to do it. It's not like whenever he's not there, everybody's going, "Where's Snake Eyes?"
It's like
turns
Roadblock and Tunnel Rat and Duke and Scarlet's all captured. Oh yeah, Snake Eyes showed up. Oh, now they're safe. Okay, they can get out.
And you get a little bit of hand flip music. Woo! And Snake Eyes is there suddenly. And he was there all along.
Yeah.
This alone for the artwork is amazing. I mean, I don't know if you can really see this, but there's Agent Helix right there. This is when they're in their little bunks on the cliff, and her nose is red. I mean, but the graphics are just amazing. Robert Atkins, awesome drawer. Or artist, I guess I could say.
This is correct.
No, a drawer is something that you put your skivvies in.
Hey, I've drawered a picture before, so yeah, I think it's alright.
And so, well, the next one I'm going to talk about, I think all of us are read. Did all of us read this one? Avengers: Fear Itself.
No.
You didn't read this one?
No.
I've read this one.
I can really only get what's on my pull list. So.
Yeah. I got this because it matches my hair. The cover does, yeah.
Right.
So,
right.
Again, part of the Fear Itself. Now, before we start, can I say this is like the biggest tease of a comic? Really?
I think you just did.
There's a lot of things going on, but they don't tell you what's going on.
Yeah.
Basically. So,
It's like
and read Fear Itself.
It's a tie-in to Fear Itself that doesn't feel like it ties into Fear Itself.
Because it leaves you wondering with so many questions. To me, this would be, it's set up Okay, first of all, you got all the Avengers. They're gathering together for a publicity event, I suppose. I guess.
Well, this is no, we've
Is it
seen
like
this, we've seen this. They've just. I didn't even notice it was gone, but they've just dropped it over the last month or two. Avengers and New Avengers both had a backup feature that was just called the Oral History of the Avengers, which was the Avengers telling the story of their starting from issue 1 of the Avengers back in the 60s, going forward, telling the story of their lives and the history of the team, and this is that. This is them recording.
Oh,
these
okay.
moments.
Well, yeah, because you have each one of the different Avengers saying, you know...
The first couple of pages are little clips taken from all throughout time, as you can tell from all the different
Yeah.
costumes.
I like that.
Where then it settles into the modern day.
I mean, to me, this would make like a really good one of those flash episodes where you could see and hear different like storyboards overlapping each other.
It felt like an episode of like Behind the Music, you know. What happened? You know?
So
I could hear that music while reading the issue. It's kind of awesome.
Yeah. So you know what? I mean, the way that it's set up, it's very visually easy to read. So, but it kind of makes you wonder what's the most important thing that's happened to these guys in their storylines, and that's pretty much what they're going after. And then they're talking about when they introduced a new Avenger. I guess I've been behind on the Avengers, so but they're introducing Red Hulk here.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when has Red Hulk come into play? I can't remember.
What?
When did Red Hulk come into play lately?
In the Avengers, he's only literally just joined the team in the previous issue.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like the last storyline when he kind of showed up in this comic.
Okay, so this is a good tie-in then, right?
Yeah, comes right after.
Okay. And so...
It's funny how I don't hate the Red Hulk anymore.
Yeah. What is
You
that?
don't?
Jeff Parker beat it out of me.
I still don't like him, and I'm hoping that like as this issue goes, that like Red Hulk's like gonna hopefully die by the end of Fear itself. Was what I'm hoping.
Oh, how could
now.
you not like this scene, though?
I don't know.
Look, I love I just in general, I just really love
I think if they want to like take like Thunderbolt Ross out of the Red Hulk and put somebody else in him, like Rick Jones or something, maybe I'll like him better. But I think it's the Thunderbolt Ross thing that keeps you making me so angry.
Yeah, fair enough.
This is one of my favorite things about this one, though, is when Spidey actually throws up in his own mask.
Yeah.
Oh my
The
god.
Red Hulk is eating raw eggs.
Right.
Raw
Doug brings
eggs,
a
yeah.
basket of eggs. And Spidey just goes...
It's worth the issue just to see that. And then, of course, Wolverine asks him, "Did you just barf in your own mask?"
Sorry.
Yeah. Wolverine has some... So he's not in it that much, but he has some really great lines.
I especially like the scene where they're interviewing him and he's like passed out with a beer bottle in his
Oh,
hand.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so basically we're introduced to the Red Hulk, and then we go back into the different scenarios of, again, a flashback, which is basically, they're saying the same thing as they were on the first couple pages. I didn't really get a whole lot out of that page. Then we go back to them telling about Asgard, the fall of Asgard. And let's see. Sorry, I'm flipping through this really quick.
It's a very talky Bendis.
Yeah, it is. It's just each Avengers telling their story in each different little panels. Like I said, there's a lot of things going on, but pretty much would have to read it for yourself. But I do like it when they actually do go into Asgard, and our
the
man
scene at the end of Fear Itself one again.
Yeah. Our man Volstagg. Love him.
Volstagg's awesome.
You've never read Volstagg before. Like the last month or two has been an absolute freaking Volstagg-o-rama.
Oh my gosh. He's picking up on the ladies, man. So, he's working his charm.
you a creature of rare beauty and elegance. And you'd be Volstagg. All of me.
I love him. He needs to get his own series. So, and then you see Spider-Woman in the corner just sulking, just, just looking around, trying to just hide in the shadows. And then we get girl talk. Yay! Why don't you date? No, why don't you date? We've been dating. You get like a little high school drama here between the girls. And then they're like, why don't you go ask Thor out? Well, he doesn't even know who I am. It's very...
Yeah, I like how Spider-Woman says, like, yeah, since Thor came back, he's not said one word to me on the Avengers team.
It's very high schoolish, but it's cute. I enjoy it. And then we go back into, again, the commentary, the interviews. And again, you just see, the one that gets to me, you do see Spider-Woman just sulking all the time. It makes you wonder what's going on in her head. And then, for some reason, we go back into Asgard, where her and Hawkeye are making googly eyes at each other. Woo! I feel like I'm watching a high school...
Did I miss something while reading the book? Because I thought that Hawkeye was still married to Mockingbird. Did I miss them getting divorced?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what's going on there. I thought they were divorced.
Like, I know she died.
Were married. Yeah, she died.
I know she died, but then there's like the story where like he like goes to hell or something and he gets her
but
back.
They were divorced already. No, she's back because it was a Skrull.
Oh, okay, I didn't read that. Yeah, I'm not going back.
She's alive again because it was a Skrull.
Oh, it was a Skrull that died. Okay, I'm thinking.
Okay.
So, but I'm not sure if I think they were still married when that happened, and the idea was that she was supposed to be coming out west to the west coast to finalize the divorce.
Okay, so
unless he went on
to
divorce the Skrull, I don't.
So are they trying to say that he married the Skrull? Is that what they're trying to say?
No, he married. They were married ages ago. He married the real one, and then the real one was going to divorce him, but then she was whipped away by the Skrulls before that happened, and then a short time later, the Skrull divorced him.
Okay.
Well, I guess on paper, he's still technically divorced from her.
Yeah.
Because that's where I was getting confused with this, because I honestly thought he was still married to her. But I just think it's
she's
funny.
She's dead over New Avengers anyway.
Yeah, really.
Okay. I just think it's funny that Spider-Woman uses her pheromones and he feels it. I'm just like, so what did she do? Just fart on him? I don't know how that works. Okay.
I do not think that means what you think it means.
That's such a different meaning to that panel where Hawkeye senses it.
He's like, I just felt that. And she's like, sorry, like, I just farted on you or something.
That gives a whole different concept of pheromones. That's like, I didn't realize that's where pheromones came from.
I think it's because he's like, did you just do that? Like, he felt her use her spider pheromones.
Oh, I am so gonna fart on a girl now and be like, "It's my pheromones." I'm gonna go fart on my wife right after this podcast and be like, "That's my love pheromones."
That's what was going on in my head right here because I was just like, "Oh my gosh, because I feel like I'm watching a high school drama. I'm going to go revert back to my kiddish ways. Oh, she's farted.
That is stuff you're only going to hear on Fanboy Versus, fart pheromones.
Yep, I think it's going to have to get put on the Twitter.
Yep.
No.
See, tell your friends to listen to Fanboy Versus and they can learn about fart pheromones.
But I just think that's what I pictured, and I just started cracking up at that panel. So
I think you made it far more entertaining than Bendis ever intended.
Probably.
So,
yeah. Awesome.
He has that look on his face like, what's that?
Are those fart pheromones? Is that what?
I mean, you've got to see this whole page. If you just think of her farting on him, it works well.
No, it does.
Poor Bendis. Bendis thought he was writing something that was going to be like, entertaining, like, on another level, and he totally didn't go in the direction he thought it was.
No, I'm just wondering, how does she secrete herself?
Well, forevermore, it will now be out of her ass. Because
I now demand that Bendis write the Marvel, Who's Who guide or whatever it's called on Spider-Woman, since he loves Spider-Woman to death, and he'll explain it to us.
Wow.
You gotta go watch. Just get that for this page. Oh, I'm gonna get hate mail.
Oh, jeez.
But the reason why they're all together is because Stark has got them all together for a briefing, a news briefing, and so they're talking about. Yeah, we're gonna get serious now, people. Yeah, and so. You see him talking to the audience, and then you see a narrator says, I was there because I am an Avenger, and I go where the Avengers go. And I don't know, it never really reveals who this new Avenger is. Do you guys have a feeling who it might be?
Well, they're talking about the Red Hulk, aren't they?
Are they... Okay, because that's what I was thinking they were talking about. But...
No, he's the new guy as of the last issue, and...
Okay.
Yeah, and that. So I presume that's who it's supposed to be.
And then again, they leave you with the last page with a bunch of talking again. They're talking about this event that has happened, but they tease you, and they don't reveal what it is.
Now, are they talking about the event that was like at the end of the Fear Itself #2, where you got the Nazi robot suits attacking?
That seems to be what's going on.
I think they're talking about like what happened afterwards, like who died and like what happened, I guess.
Yeah, the Blitzkrieg, like they had here's the Blitzkrieg that they have a 2-page event on. So I'm not exactly sure if that's what they're talking about. I got a little confused, but that's where it leaves you as a cliffhanger. Because they're talking about what's going to happen in the future, so.
And apparently it's something bad, something like really bad.
Yeah, I mean, every one of these Avengers has a look of total sorrow and despair on their face, except for Wolverine, who's passed out drunk.
Yeah.
Well, maybe if we could get some more fart pheromones in there, you'd like lift their mood.
Read, it's a pretty good read. Again, it's very talky.
It's Bendis.
Yeah, but a lot's revealed, and it's a cliffhanger. It's definitely a tease because it's like, okay, so what's gonna happen? What happened? So that's it. So
nice.
Did you guys enjoy it, McFeely?
I've just been through 3 volumes of the official handbook of the Marvel Universe, trying to find Spider-Woman for the official description of her pheromone powers, but.
So see, we figured it out. All of this
next to me, okay.
All of this time, and now we know that it actually is.
But maybe she
that's
didn't
a fart.
have pheromone powers in the 70s because I don't see anything about them in here.
Oh, she didn't? I thought she did for some reason.
Might have been a later edition. Negligible, top body seed, visible blast, and shining quantity, maximum.
Maybe that's something that
pheromones in here.
Maybe that's something Bendis added when he did that the Spider-Woman origin comic. Maybe that's one of the things he added to it or
I
something.
think so. That's something she used to have.
Well, see, like I said, because I mean, they're talking about, well, he felt it. I mean, it's got to be pretty powerful pheromones if,
Well, I mean, you feel like the emotional sort of change, I would assume.
Yeah, but...
But, I mean, I don't... but if she did kind of, like, nuzzle up to him and fart like you do, could be...
The thing is, it's the whole page of them.
All that's,
look at his face,
all that's got me thinking...
Just do to me.
There's an episode of Family Guy where he's, like, trying to teach Meg how to date, and all he does is keep telling her how she has to learn to appreciate the smell of farts. And that's all I can think of now.
So
anyway, let's move on. As McFeely desperately tries to find information to disprove he's desperatally trying to prove that they're not fart pheromones, but
McFeely is the greatest researcher we have.
Yeah.
He will find us an answer.
No. I don't care now. It's all fart pheromones. She farts, and that scent. She has that sweet romantic fart smell that just draws you in.
Stop, dude. What is this?
That smells like roses and gravy. Why is... Anyway, I'm going to go on and do some more reviews.
Wait, here it is.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
Here's the modern
Hold.
Hey, honey, you need more fiber.
Hold the press.
Here's the modern hand.
Oh.
Hold on. Okay.
Triplet is lost. He's just... He's just... I can't believe. I'm telling you, Triplet, if you want to...
specific here, her body produces pheromones which draw men to her while repelling women, although she uses a chemical perfume to nullify both effects as needed. Nothing more specific than that.
Repels women. They're not affected by her fart pheromones. So there you go, Triplet. If you want to get a girl, just nuzzle up to her and fart on her. Use your fart pheromones. They love it. Women love being farted on. Just try it.
Love chat with Fanboy.
Fanboy Versus does not condone this particular methodology.
Why did you guys ask me on the
Will not be
podcast
held
again?
responsible for any results.
Dutch ovens,
Positive or negative, which is
preferably on a warm day with the windows rolled up. That's in your car.
This is the wrong message. By the way,
See, I'm married, so you know, I can get away with things like this. But anyway,
Oh, we've learned so much about Spider-Woman today.
I know.
if she'd had pheromones in the 70s, I would have got a better answer out of one of these old school.
There
Maybe
you go.
this is the reason why the Spider-Woman comic was canceled.
Yeah. Because Bendis is like, alright, and then she farts on him, and he starts to fall in love with her. What? Yeah, pheromones! You didn't know?
So Booster Gold happened this year.
Yay! This makes up for McFeely pissing all over my stuff this earlier in the show.
Alright, I probably will never be back on the show after today.
Yeah, I can at least blame you, Nicole. It's all Nicole's fault. She came up with the fart pheromones.
I'm kind of glad that I didn't review Avengers now because I couldn't have done it justice.
Yeah, see? There you go. You never would have come up with fart pheromones. That's why Nicole is here. Anyway. So, Batman and Robin. I don't know how to follow that.
I'm not gonna say anything.
Anyway, so this starts a three-part, I believe, which is the return of Red Hood Jason Todd. Yes, he's still sort of relevant. Relevant. But anyway, this sort of starts with a little bit of a flashback, a conversation between then Nightwing Dick Grayson and Batman talking about Jason Todd's sort of general readiness to take on the little pointy shoes and chain metal pants. But anyway, chain mail, little scale metal panties.
Underwear.
Yeah, scaly underwear. Anyway, we've lost Nicole. Why is Nicole not here?
She's opening her
She
window.
went to open her window.
Probably.
From all the farting, no doubt.
God, she was excreting pheromones during that whole show. So we come back to present day, and Bruce is actually paying a visit to Jason in Arkham. Now, Jason's been locked up in Arkham probably for a while, I guess, since this whole Red Hood fiasco. And Jason sort of starts to have this conversation about, you know, how they both returned from the grave, and, you know, what's been going, you know, he knew that Batman wouldn't die, and blah, 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 and kind of goes on. He's like, oh, but, you know, he's like saying, well, a bit, you know, sorry to keep going on, but I've been limited on visitors. You know, how have you been? And Batman's just like, so you petitioned to be transferred out of Arkham. It's like, dude, really? I haven't seen you in forever, and just come in, and you want to talk about business? Fine. So anyway, the deal is that Jason wants to be transferred out of Arkham because he feels like he doesn't belong in Arkham. He wants to go to a regular prison because he's not insane. You know, he just is a murderer, and he's definitely homicidal. But
he just wears a red hood mask and.
Yeah.
He doesn't belong in Arkham, no.
Yeah, and he's like, sure, I dressed up when I did it, but I'm not really, like, insane. I'm just homicidal, you know, and I should be in prison, but I don't want to be in Arkham, you know, and he's isolated. And Batman's trying to tell him it's for his own benefit, but, you know, basically isn't able to talk him out of it. So they decide so him and Dick and Damian just decide to keep a watch on him. So first, like... So then the next sequence, basically just think of it as a long extended sequence of what would happen if Rorschach had got to spend more time in prison. Because...
That would have been an awesome comic.
And that's what this is. So it's just him, like, basically pulling strings or doing different stuff, getting different people killed. So, like... One guy tries to come up behind it, one guy in here, the Beaver, tries to mess with him, and then the Beaver is found, like, supposedly hanging himself from his cell.
I'm not touching that.
Yeah. Thanks. Then there's another guy that tries to shank him, and he ends up tripping the guy up, and... He stabs his friend in the this other guy in the face.
So is this basically like an episode of Oz, but like in Arkham Asylum or something? Because that's what
I guess so. I've never seen Oz, but yeah, I mean, basically it's just the sequence of all these different people that Jason Todd just end up, you know, killing in various ways that don't end up looking like he has anything to do with it, but obviously he's doing it. And so about midway through the comic. They find like some gang members or something, and they make a point to mention that their boss, the Beaver, had been killed in prison. So Batman contacts the prison. This is Grayson Batman, and come to find out that there's been 9 suicides and 6 murders.
Oh my God.
And he's like, all of that happened and you never thought to contact me? I'm like, well, we never had any reason to believe it was the Red Hood until now. Like, well, what do you mean? What do you mean until now? He's like, well, there's 82 dead and over 100 are sick from, it looked like poison that was put in the food. It is awesome. Like, Damian just turns aside and he's like, idiots. So they're, so the warden's like, well, he's going back to Arkham. And Batman's like, don't move him. Don't do anything until we get there. And like, oh, it's too late. I already signed the transfer. He's on his way. Dumbass. Because en route, of course, the convoy...
He works at Arkham. I think that's on the application form.
Well, this guy works at the prison. He works at a different... This is the prison.
He works in law enforcement in Gotham.
Ah, well, there you go.
Commissioner, I think that's...
Yeah, pretty standard. So the convoy gets attacked, and Jason seems to... I mean, he makes it out, at least to the attack, alive. And then this group of, like, animal people show up, and he's like, who the hell are you guys? And like, we're the guys that are breaking you out. I'm like, works for me. That's it. So this is good. This will be, this will be some more fun with the Red Hood for Dick and Damian. So, kind of bringing that character back out a little bit. It was good. It was a good issue. The art's really solid. It was Winnick on the writing. Again, is he new on that? He hadn't been doing that, I don't think.
No, I thought Tomasi was supposed to be having a run on that. I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, so, anyway, but it was a solid issue. Good stuff. Dialogue's all good. Like I said, it was just kind of fun to see the various ways that he was taking out other inmates and things. So, on to Booster Gold. Now, as I mentioned before, this is Booster Gold 44. This is Dan Jurgens' return to Booster Gold. So the skies open up. Thankfully.
Did you really hear that when that happened?
I did. When I opened the first page, this light shone down. Fart Pheromones took me over. And As soon as I opened the book, like I was hit.
It's gonna stick around for a while.
Oh yeah, I'm riding that train.
That and me ripping up a comic book.
So, yes, and Dan Jurgens was drawing this issue when we talked to him, so that makes me excited.
Awesome.
But I didn't see any Fanboy Versus references, so oh well.
I looked.
Yep.
It's too bad there's not like a guy on the street named JD or something.
That would be really awesome. Yes.
Hey JD, shoot Booster Gold. He's obviously a bad guy. Okay.
Okie dokie.
Okay.
Yeah. So, the issue opens up, and the military is sensing a threat over Coast City, and so they're starting to fire. You know, they're gonna fire on it, and what it turns out to be is Booster. And they think it's an Atlantean, and because he can fly or whatever, and Booster's a bit confused as to what's attacking the city because he obviously doesn't think it's him.
Yeah.
And they call down a whole bomb and blow up a whole building that he's standing in. And he hits his force field just in time, of course, thanks to Skeets. But he's trying to remember what happened. There's a little bit of a flashback here, which is why I say this is a good jumping on point, because he actually kind of retells some of his origin. We get a picture of Booster in the original high collar and cape. Yes, Booster had a cape.
I did not know he had a cape. I was surprised by that.
He got rid of that really early, by the 6th or 7th issue. I think that was gone. But
He's
yeah,
always been capeless whenever I've seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now that high collar stuck around for quite a while, but yeah, he did have a cape originally.
The high collar back.
The high collar is kind of cool, actually.
Love the high collar.
It's awesome.
I could just picture, Disco Steve would be jealous of it.
Yeah. But basically, we just have a flashback of the character for a couple panels, talking about the JLI days, and then him sort of being adrift, and then getting into 52 and everything that he helped out with that up until now. And he's starting to realize that he's a bit of a fugitive and outcast here, and he can't really figure out why. He actually gets shot from a satellite from space and goes unconscious, and we have a flashback where basically he had come back in the last issue. Now we see the chalkboard again. There's one thing on the chalkboard that I didn't think about before. McFeely, I swear. I'm just kidding. I love you. But why did it have to be Bruce? Why did it have to be Bruce? That's the only line that I'm kind of interested in. But anyway, but there's
that line means nothing. There's no ulterior meaning there. It is an oblique reference to the fact that Bruce Wayne has died instead of his father. It means nothing. It's the usual arse-licking nonsense that's plastered over Rip Hunter's chalkboard, just enough to get you to go, and then nothing.
I'm more interested in the comment that says "Listen to Booster." Isn't that what it says?
Yeah. Ask Booster. Yeah, it says "Ask Booster." Because apparently he's the only one that remembers.
Why would you want to know what Booster Gold said? That's why.
Because he's the one that knows.
Booster remembers. That's it.
Booster's
Chalkboard done. No more or greater meaning than that.
So anyway, so Booster had come back, and they mentioned the chalkboard, and he dips into the fridge to get something out, and when he does, there's a bright flash of light, which of course he thinks comes from the refrigerator.
It's always the refrigerator that attacked.
Yes. Well, originally the DeLorean was supposed to be a refrigerator. Anyway, that has no connection to this whatsoever.
It does because it's time stuff.
It's time stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's just one of those nerd things that I know. Anyway, so when he comes out of the fridge, everything is old and aged and totally changed. So he goes out to figure out what's happened, because they can't find Rip, and that's why he went to Coast City, because that was closer. Mm-hmm. And then, wakes back up, and they...
But everything was changed, but the blackboard still had the writing on it.
Yes, which is really odd. The blackboard still has the writing on it, but everything else has changed around it. Now he suspects it might be Black Beetle or something like that, but let's see, he sees the stuff about Cyborg, and then he tries to activate the time platform, which doesn't work because the time platform doesn't exist. So now, as a consequence of that, it overloads Skeets, and Skeets sort of partially explodes.
No. That's so sad.
Yes.
Don't kill Skeets!
So Skeets says, but before Skeets deactivates, he says that the only explanation is that there isn't an alternate timeline, that this is the only timeline. Now, I want that to mean that the 52 is now collapsed. But McFeely wants to piss in my Cheerios and say no.
No. Timelines and multiverse is different things, man.
But hypertime doesn't exist.
I don't know what hypertime. Nobody fucking knows what hypertime is. Hypertime was something somebody made up so they could still publish Elseworlds. That's what hypertime is.
Except for Mark Waid. Mark Waid knows what hypertime exists. Yeah.
Yeah. So apparently, though,
I'm pretty sure the timelines are a distinct thing from the other universes. I don't think.
But anyway, there's nowhere to go. There's no time platform to jump to because this is it. And Drip Hunter apparently is not there, so anyway, very bad. But not quite as bad as the very end here, where apparently this humans send their big enforcer out, which is Doomsday.
Holy shit!
Yeah, which is really scary.
He almost killed Booster Gold.
He did.
Oh my god.
He ripped his arm off and stuff. Yeah, it's screwed up. But yeah, good to see Jurgens get to pull back some of his creations and throw them out there. Even though Doomsday is probably one of the most overused now, uber villains.
But Doomsday in that suit's not overused.
No, that's a new costume for him. It's kind of all covering and green.
Yeah, that was the suit that he was in when he originally appeared.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but him getting out of the suit is what everybody always sees. It's like him getting the torn up green trunks or something.
Yeah, that's true. So, yeah.
So, I want to read the next issue of Booster Gold. Oh my god.
Heck yeah, you do. You want to go and get this if you haven't read it. And then, yes, definitely.
I've never read any Booster Gold before. I picked this up because I know Flashpoint's the main thing that we talk about. And I know you guys love Booster Gold. This was a really good start for someone like me that's never read Booster Gold. I mean, because it's got some of his history in it. And is that pretty accurate with his past history, or is this a timeline?
No, that's it. I mean, and again, the thing is Dan Jurgens created Booster Gold. So this is, that's the definitive character timeline because he wrote it. I mean, he's the one that created Booster Gold and did all that. So yeah, that's as accurate as it's going to get because that's him.
For someone like me or anyone else who's interested in this character, this is a great, jumping on point, I think.
Yeah, and then you need to go back and read 52 and read everything with Booster, basically. Except for that whole JLI stuff. Skip that.
I can see myself liking this character because I like arrogant assholes like him.
But that's the funny thing is, he really has, those dual personas. And it's really interesting, and he kind of says in there because he's a superhero with a secret superhero identity. Because Booster Gold is, who he shows to the world. The guy that sells toothpaste and soda and action figures and stuff. But in reality, he's really that protector of the timeline and the multiverse that no one can know about because it would affect...
He's the most important hero and nobody knows about it. That's kind of awesome.
Yeah, I mean,
that was a really neat twist that they put on him.
Yeah, and it's really had an interesting effect, I think, on that character because he really does have to keep up these two personas. Think about it from that sense that here's a guy who is arrogant, who does, thrive on attention and thrive on his actions being recognized, and yet the great work that he does, the important work that he does, no one can ever know about.
So I'm going to...
That's awesome.
Yeah, this issue alone makes me want to go and read some past issues of them.
Absolutely.
Start with 52.
Yeah, 52 is a good point for that. So
Yeah.
52.
yeah,
52 is awesome.
52 is awesome. I'm actually going all the way back. I've got some of the old, like original Volume 1 and stuff that I'm trying to get through.
Do they have trades of Booster?
Yeah, and there's some trades from like Jurgen's last run. There's a couple of like smaller, issues of that. There's a lot of stuff that deal with like the Blue Beetle and stuff in there, but they're pretty good. So.
Does he always have the sexy wavy hair?
Oh yeah, yes, he always has the sexy hair.
Style did not evolve out of the 80s.
No. It's always very sexy. So no fart pheromones, but very sexy with the hair. That's all he really needs. So anyway, that's me. All right, McFeely.
Okay, first thing I'm going to talk about today is issue 3 of Herc. This is Herc's Fear Itself tie-in, just to make sure people keep on reading. And it's also the issue in which he gets his new costume. He trades in his skirt for a proper outfit that some people donate to him. Because his girlfriend, I don't know if you call him his girlfriend or not, the chick he's banging, anyway, who works in the Greek restaurant with him, sets up a... I don't know what you'd call it, a kind of a block party or an open day or something where it's like, come and meet your hero at the Greek restaurant and maybe buy some food while you're here. And Hercules has to deal with all the people who come up seeking to resolve the problems of Brooklyn. And it kicks off, well, I mean, the issue actually kicks off with the breakout at the raft as a consequence of the hammer landing on it. And we follow the man-bull, the basilisk, who I could have sworn was dead, to be honest with you, the griffin, and a girl, a mystery girl, as they make their escape and head for Brooklyn to pick up some stuff from the basilisk's old hideout. But then we launch into Hercules dealing with the problems of the public. One woman tells them about a meth lab in the empty brownstone next door. I call the cops, but by the time they come, they clear out, and then they're back the next day, and Hercules says, "Fear not, Miss Muniz. This gang will taste my steel." That's bad, right? If you do it right. And then an older man comes up and says, "Sunset Park, after the shooting in the street, I heard them running upstairs and just laughing in their room. They're Mr. Negative's men. I know it. I'd go to the police, but he has his eyes everywhere. I positively swear by the girdle of Hippolyta that this Mr. Negative will taste my steel."
Wow.
That was humor, citizen. Go with Zeus. This old woman comes up to him and says, "Their terrier won't stop barking and barking all night long. I've told them to muzzle it over and over, but they don't speak any English. Why do you think they can just come to this country and apples will taste my steel?" Next! And this rather racist chap comes up and says, "First you gotta get the socialists, then you gotta get the Kenyans. And what about the Greeks? Yeah, I always thought there was something off about, get out of here or taste my steel!" And then he gets his costume. And the rest of the issue leads into him foiling a bank robbery by those 3 criminals, which is then interrupted by, how do you pronounce this? I believe it's pronounced Kainos, or I'm pretty sure it's Kainos, son of Ares, who is the leader of the Warhawks gang that are the antagonists of this series so far, that are causing all this trouble in Brooklyn. And it results in Hercules having to save the criminals from him because he's here to kill them outright. And of course, the aura of fear that is sweeping across the country as a result of fear itself, because that's it as far as fear itself goes. Everybody's kind of panicky. It's the extent of your fear itself tie-in.
There's like something kind of nasty in the air, but that's all we're gonna mention in the issue.
Not fart pheromones.
But it means that the whole crowd turns against Hercules very quickly.
And the identity of the mystery girl is revealed at the conclusion of the issue. I'm not going to reveal who it is because I'm quite honestly not sure if it's a character who's appeared in Marvel Comics or not before, or it's somebody that they're pulling out of myth. So I'm going to leave that aside. The funny thing is that I speculated, since a lot of her speech bubbles were surrounded by purple glows and she seemed to have some psychic powers, that it might be the Purple Girl, the daughter of the Purple Man. We'll get to why that's funny in a few minutes. But yeah, I imagine, I would like to believe that more people will be jumping on Hercules with this crossover. I mean, you know, Hercules has been going on for a while now. Since World War Hulk, basically. So what, 4 years or so? Yeah, it's 4 or 5 years even. Maybe 3 or 4 years. Well, anyway, something around that length of time. And I don't know if he's really bringing in any new readers or not. I mean, the first issue of the new series, I don't know if any new readers jumped on to try it out or not, but hopefully some more people will pick up Fear Itself purely because it's Italian and stick around whenever they see this. Because I've said it before when I was talking about the previous issues of Hercules, the tone of the book has changed a bit because it's veered away from the buddy comedy that it was whenever it was the Incredible Hercules and when Amadeus Cho was a regular character. He's left the book now. But the first 2 issues of this were, you know, they had their moments of comedy, but they were fairly straight action shows with a new premise. This one is definitely funnier than it has been. It feels more like the Hercules of the past, and you know,
like the Hercules that got like Galactus drunk or something and got his helmet taken off or something. Didn't that happen at one point, like in the Hercules miniseries?
I don't recall offhand.
Wow.
No, there's like something crazy.
But you know, it's peppered in there with moments of real awesome too. When he whips out he's got the whole array of magical weapons in him, and he just takes his sword and he just drives it straight into the Griffin's chest, just right in there. And the Griffin's like, just staring down, and is like, "This is the sword of Peleus. It's sharp enough to cut through molecules, but that means I don't hit anything that I don't want to. That wound hurts, but I've avoided all major arteries and organs. You live as long as you surrender. Now." You know, just real like badass stuff like that as well. And Man-Bull is a lot of fun as well because I couldn't tell you where Man-Bull first appeared or anything, but no, actually he was in Daredevil. He was an early Daredevil buddy, but he is exactly what you think he is based on his name. I've dropped my headphone.
Breaking news. Chris
Yes.
dropped his headphone.
Heard you without it. So yeah, he's delivering a lot of like fun, dumb guy deadpan comedy throughout as well. I mean, everybody gets to drop some kind of funny lines. You know, the Griffin just decides to pack it in while they're fighting, grabs a handful of money out of a safety deposit box, and just goes, "See you guys in Mexico." Or Jersey, maybe. He's got no money. If you haven't picked it up now, I mean, I don't know how much of a jumping on point 3 issues is in, but maybe they specifically waited until the 3rd issue to give him his new costume so that the first issue of the Fear Itself tie-in feels like a strong starting point, even though it is only 2 issues after the first issue. But I still strongly recommend Hercules, and I don't know why I didn't start picking it up before this point, to be honest. Well worth your time. And it is because I enjoy Hercules so much, and generally the work of Fred Van Lente, who co-writes Hercules with Greg Pak, that I decided to pick up this week the ridiculously numbered Alpha Flight number 0.1.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple of these 0.1s coming. Ghost Rider has one coming up. I don't know if there are any more offhand. Yeah, that's just stupid.
Well,
just make it an issue 0 if you're going to do something stupid like that.
but
whatever.
it's a .1.
Yeah.
And it's not, it's before
Well,
the
it could also be
one.
number 1, and you could be number 1 in a 9-issue limited series.
Well, no, that's not. But it's $4. It's it's $3. Hey.
What is the
It's a
point?
the point 1 issues are $3.
So see, there you go. They get to pre-sell you the cheaper comic.
But wait a minute. What is the point of a .1 if the comic's not even out yet? I thought the .1 was a starting point. I mean,
It
if there's
is.
not an issue yet, the starting point's the first issue, not 0.
Yeah, but yeah.
There's the scent of early Image with this.
Let's introduce the characters in the number zero, so we can have everybody just be fighting in issue number one. Well,
there you go.
Stupid numbering aside, this is actually an issue that serves as a jumping on point because it gives a very solid introduction to all the cast members of Alpha Flight, which some people will undoubtedly require because it's Alpha Flight. But I decided, I don't object to Alpha Flight. That's the most I can say about Alpha.
This is the first time I've been introduced to these characters.
I think that this is going to be the first time a lot of newer readers will have been exposed to Alpha Flight because they used to have a series, and John Byrne used to do their series back in the late 80s and the early 90s. And was it even the 90s? I'm not sure. Well, they had a series in the 90s anyway. It ran through to the 90s. And they've tried a couple of restarts of it here and there, but it's never really latched on, and then they killed them all in New Avengers. What was that about? Just before Civil War, so 5 years ago, everybody died, literally. They were all killed, and they all came back to life in Chaos War, the Hercules event just a little while ago, which involved a lot of people coming back from the dead. So that is why they are back, and that is why they're getting a new series with this creative team.
So who's the creative team?
The creative team is Fred Van Lente and Greg Pak on the writing, with Ben Oliver on the art.
Awesome.
Yes, so it's purely based on the strength of the creative team and the fact that I don't object to the characters that I've decided to pick this up.
Yeah.
I gotta say, this is a good first issue. I'm definitely gonna get the 8-issue maxi series that's gonna follow. It kicks off with a Fear Itself tie-in as well next month, but I would have picked it up anyway. But it's not going to run the length of the series. And the plot of the issue is that there's an election happening in Canada. I don't know if that's current or not.
I think it is. They did just have an election like 2 weeks ago or something like that. I think a week or two even ago.
Regardless of what was going on in real life, the leading party in this election is one called Unity. And the election is disrupted by an attack on the La Grande Dam, the big dam, power station, in which a villain called, what's his name? It's a new guy, and even if it wasn't, it's not like you would know anyway, because it's Alpha Flight. What's his name?
The villain?
Yeah, I can't even find him now.
Citadel?
Yeah.
Is it Citadel?
Something
No.
like that. That sounds about right.
Citadel.
I can't even remember.
It says
Oh, there, yes, there. It is a terrorist name. Right there in the first page. Skip right past it. So he's attacking that to disrupt power supplies, and the various members of Alpha Flight are called into action. So you get the obligatory suit up and into action sequence for all of them. So you get introduced in turn to Vindicator, Guardian, Shaman, Aurora, Sasquatch, and then the one guy who has decided not to join back up with the team, which is North Star. Now, JD,
Yeah.
you did know something about North Star,
okay. Again, preface my knowledge of, Alpha Flight. They were in like one episode of the X-Men cartoon ish, like when they were trying to get Wolverine to come back. That's all I had ever seen or known about Alpha Flight, other than knowing that they're Canadian. But anyway,
dude, they had a member called Sasquatch and a midget member named Puck.
Yeah.
All you
not in
need to
this.
know.
right.
And Puck's in this comic, so I won't be buying this comic.
Oh.
That is
Okay.
fact.
But I did not realize that North Star was gay.
Now, North Star being gay is the only thing that character has ever been about since the early 1990s.
I remember it being a big deal though when the comic.
When you guys said that before, I remember something happened about that. It was like on the news and stuff.
John Byrne had always intended for North Star to be gay when he wrote the comic, but they weren't allowed to do it back then. That's just how unenlightened it was. They said, no, you can't. Back at the height of the AIDS paranoia, the intention was actually to have North Star catch AIDS. And catch AIDS is the right word for that, but to get AIDS. But they started putting in the hints that he was sick into the stories, and then they
they said, no, you can't do that. So they had to change everything, and they revealed that Northstar was a magical creature who was suffering from withdrawal from being away from his magical homeland. So as Peter David put it, Northstar's not gay, he's just a fairy.
I love Peter David.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was promptly ignored, and it was in the early '90s when they were finally allowed to do it, and so it was a terrible, terrible story with terrible, terrible art. You should be able to find the panel in which Northstar is leaping into action with all of the crazy 1980s proportions and cross-hatching everywhere, bellowing at the top of his lungs, "I am gay!"
Wow.
I don't think they'd ever bothered to retcon out any of the magical stuff, but yeah. So Northstar's gay, but unfortunately that has completely dominated everything the character has ever done. Whenever if Northstar appears in something normally, it's because they need to do something with the fact that he's gay.
Yeah, like when Chuck Austin was doing X-Men. He was
Oh
like,
no, you spoke his name?
Yeah, oh my god. He was like, oh, that was not good. I'm sorry.
No, let us not.
Mm.
That's all I'm going to say. Chuck Austin, X-Men, Northstar. No.
Well, he is more than that here, so that's a good start.
Yes.
That's good.
Because Northstar is also a dick.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I got out of this. It's just like,
That's the aspect that works for him, being just this asshole. I'm better than you attitude. You know?
Yeah, he's a total top. I mean,
he's
it's
actively decided not to join back up with the team, but he still comes out to check out this incident at Amcan, where he meets with is he Vindicator or is he Guardian? I don't even know.
I think he's Vindicator.
James Hudson. He and his wife have swapped code names back and forth so many times. I honestly don't know at this point which one is which.
I think he's supposed to be Vindicator and she's Guardian at this point.
Whatever. Hang on, I'm going to flip back just a sec. In a minute. No, she's Vindicator and he's Guardian.
Damn it. I thought I was right.
Well, you had a 50-50 chance.
Damn.
So it turns out that the villain who is in Amcan is, hey, the Purple Girl. So that made me do a bit of a double take. I was like, shit, dude, what are the freaking odds? I don't know when she was last in anything that I would even guess that she was in something and then have her pop up in the next comic I read. She controls the minds of, people keep saying, oh, there's an election on in the midst of all of this. But then while she's trying to escape, she controls the minds of the entire crowd, one of which includes Snowstorm's boyfriend. And I'll form the head. The entire
that's
onto each other and forms a giant person.
That is the definition of Gestalt right there.
That was awesome. This is awesome.
We are legion. We are many.
They take care of that problem.
I don't even want to figure out the physics of how you're supposed to do that.
Yeah, that's not thought about.
Okay.
Pretty sure that doesn't work. So while they're trying to deal with that, she gets to her transport, but she's had a parking ticket placed on her.
The whole parking ticket thing is awesome. Let me tell you.
Look, you parked in the wrong place, eh?
A ticket jockey.
Yeah.
It appeared on the first page of the issue.
Meter maid.
That was at the very start, but if you don't know Alpha Flight, you'll know that this is. It turns out this is Snowbird, who is then shifts her snowboard requires to transform into various Canadian animals or animals of the wilderness, and switches forms so fast that the Purple Girl can't give her any commands she can't control her mind or her body because she keeps changing it so fast. It says, take your ticket book and stuff it up here. Turns into a polar bear. With you. Turns into an owl. Your wings can't. Turns into a seal.
Yeah.
Too fast.
The thing is, the seal's bigger than the polar bear.
A little bit. Just based on the
That's pretty
that's one deadly seal.
And then the issue ends with... Well, first of all, the issue ends with them actually showing Northstar kiss his boyfriend, so that surprised me because the rest of the issue really seemed to actively be dancing around saying it. That was kind of annoying me because I was like, is this really where we are now? You can't just say it. So I was quite refreshed to see that, hey, there at the end.
Well, I think
I've ever actually kissed anybody on a panel before.
Well, and I think but I didn't mind it so much because I think it's one of those things where I think we've passed the point. You know, there's one of those things where it's like you didn't say it. Like there was a time at which you would allude to it, but you wouldn't say it. And then there was a time where it was just like you had to say it. Like it was like just like that jumping out, like I'm gay thing, like that had to be said. But I think that we're sort of beyond that at this point, and I could tell very clearly from the earlier panels, oh, this character's gay. You know, and I think it's clear within the context that that's what's happening. But I did like that they weren't bothered by doing that, like, you know, kiss and stuff at the end. You know, I didn't.
Just, you know, whenever he says, you know, Hudson, careful, that's my cut-off sentence. You know, it's like why can you mention anything? And I'm sure there was one or two other things jumped out at me that I felt like that was...
Honestly, I wish they would have switched that page and the page before, because I like the ending with them posing for the cameras. I thought that would have been a good ending.
Well, but remember that he's the one that's sort of the odd man out.
That's
so
true.
And they wanted to, I think, end with that panel and that conversation between them of saying, I forgot to vote.
Yeah.
Because I think that this is going to be the big tie-in to Fear itself. Because
well, the whole underlying thing, the reason that these villains are doing this is because there is something sinister at the heart of this unity party, which the end of the issue wins by a landslide vote. So obviously, whatever is at the heart of that is going to lead into the main series, and of course, the idea of there being some secret or something that's going to corrupt the people, a big conspiracy theory like that. Ideas like that are at the heart of Fear itself. The idea that the common man is in control of himself, and there's forces from everywhere coming to try and get you. I mean, that's totally what that's all about.
And that's what's going to be the thrust of the Alpha Flight series, is that they're going to be outcast. They're hunted. They're going to be... They're losing their
little eyes and flapping heads, so full of lies.
Yeah. No, and I just imagine that girl like, yeah, you parked in the wrong spot. I had to give you a ticket, eh? No? Okay.
Gonna have to bring your car aboard.
Yeah. Take your car out of here,
How many
eh?
issues is this going on for?
8
Or is this a
Eight.
new series?
8 issues after this. It's going to be an 8-issue maxi series, quote unquote. They have, I remember, I think it was either Fred Van Landergroup, but one of the creative team tweeted that they had 8 issues to make a case for Alpha Flight. So there may be something more if they can actually sell the comics. And based off the back of this one, I hope they succeed, because I am going to get the series of this. I enjoyed this an awful lot. And it's one of those rare instances of a point one that actually is a good jumping on point, but it would have to be with a 0 point.
Yeah, it's kind of a gimme. And it's kind of a freebie. But I mean, I liked it, and I think I can see me getting the miniseries, but I am going to be hard-pressed to bet on this making it to full ongoing.
Well, sadly, I would probably agree with you. I mean, these characters could once. They've tried a couple of reinventions of Alpha Flight, but, you know, Namor used to be able to carry a series, too.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Yeah, it just like as an intro, it gives you a great little pocketed look at every member of the team. You get a quick feel for what they're all about, even if Marina's has to be sort of tagged on to the very end where she shouts abuse into the TV camera.
Well, like with the shaman, you really don't see a whole lot of him, and he'd be someone I'd be interested in learning more about. And of course, Sasquatch. He's a freaking Sasquatch. I like creatures like that, so of course I'd like that.
And not to harp on North Star, but, you know, there's really not a lot of gay male figures within comics. There's plenty of female gay characters, because guys love nothing more than watching chicks kiss, even if it's drawn. But I don't
know that there really are, though.
But there's
I can name 2.
Well, but that's 2 more than I can name gay male characters, you know, other than North Star now.
North Star and Freedom Ring. Well, he's dead.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what I'm saying. You know, I think it would be nice to have a series, as long as they don't make that the character. You know, this is North Star and he's gay. As long as it's North Star and he has interesting character traits, and then, you know, being gay is just part of who he is and who that character is. Kind of like we talked about race and stuff from last episode. But anyway.
His boy, you know, it's like we didn't even mention it, but yeah, you know, it's his boyfriend's black as well.
There you go.
Interracial
gay.
Comics.
It's just like
what's going on?
It's like Doctor Who, where it's like
Jesus.
He's like
Davies wrote this.
The girl you want to.
If they give us more of this Gestalt by the humans, this will be a fun comic. I mean,
Yeah, I don't
that's
expect.
so cool. That was
Yeah.
awesome.
Respect from Fred.
Yeah, very nice.
Just call me when Puck's in it.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Running around, I believe, over or has been in Wolverine recently, but that's because he's still dead and Wolverine's been in hell.
He can come back. He's Puck.
I'm sure he can. The rest of them.
He'll just roll up into a ball and just roll out of hell. That's all.
There you go. So, okay.
Yep. So that's Alpha Flight. Recommend it. Check it out. Definitely. Yeah.
Nice. This is good stuff. So, all right. That brings us to Tales of Asgard.
Yes, released on DVD and Blu-ray this past week. The new Marvel animated movie. If you don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah. So, what do we think?
Man, it sucked.
Yeah, Triple, you didn't even see it. Shut up.
You didn't watch it, Triple.
Maybe I'll
fine.
Netflix it or something.
I got it at the Red Box for $1.
I had mixed feelings about it. I mean, in one sense, it seemed really slow.
Oh yeah.
For being an hour and 15, it felt like it was longer than the Thor movie.
Yeah. Seriously.
I really couldn't.
Alright.
I couldn't place what universe I was in because there were things that seemed to really not fit in with the sort of Marvel universe. I guess some things did and some things didn't.
Well, one thing, isn't this based on a miniseries of like Thor and Loki when they were younger? When they were an actual comic? It was like,
It was
There was a
actually
comic. It was
called
called Thor: Son of Asgard, but basically the fact that that's the premise. When they were young, that's it. The stories themselves have no other correlation.
Okay.
I thought they were going to, but they didn't.
Yeah.
They would have made more sense if they did, but I'll get to that in a minute.
The main storyline is that Thor at this point is fairly young. He basically has a group of sparring partners that he beats up on a regular basis that don't really fight back very hard. And that kind of gets him into trouble with Sif a little bit, who, during the opening fight sequence, like at one point he drops his sword and his partners like give him his sword back and then continue to fight him, and then like, oh, we lost. So it's not like, so he's not really like, it's not really a test of his abilities. I mean, it's really just a show. And meanwhile, Loki is also sort of learning the magic arts from the Enchantress as well, kind of pre-Enchantress, I guess. But Thor goes off to talk to Sif, and Sif, she's leaving to become a Valkyrie, I think, and she makes the point that she believes in Thor, and she believes Thor has more ability than he does, but he's wasting his time just letting himself, win against, these opponents who really aren't fighting back. And that sort of, strikes a chord with him, and he decides to essentially go with the Warriors 3, unbeknownst to them, and stow away and go on this adventure to get this sword. Because they're always talking about the sword of, what is it? Sort of...
The sword of omens?
No. Sort of Surger, but...
Thunder, the Thunder God!
Oh, yes. So, he ends up getting counsel from their dark elf sort of houseman or
Algrim.
Yes,
See,
Algrim.
this was the weird one to me, because Algrim is Curse, one of the great Thor villains. I don't know if you know Curse or not, but Curse is the meanest mother this side of downtown. And I was like, first I spent like 10 or 15 minutes going, Algrim, who is that? And then I remember who it was. Then I spent the rest of them going, whose fucking voice is that? I know that voice. So I was a little distracted when it came to Algrim.
Yeah.
What
So-
was it?
It was Ron Halder who played Primus in Transformers Energon, of all things.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a lot of... There was a good voice cast for this, and as we stop and mention that.
They would get the voice production for the Marvel movies out of Canada. I do really.
Yeah.
But they did a good job with what they had, but Canadians doing British accents.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, that's what threw me off. I'm just like, they're very British, and there was a couple times there was a very thick Irish accent, and it's just like, wait, these are supposed to be more Nordic.
I still don't
But
understand.
it's still the
I s-
accents they should have. That's the way they talk. It's just the fact that it's these Americans talking about how things would be most good.
Yeah. For some reason, for Americans, all foreign godly people speak with a form of a British accent.
Well, that's how they're written. It's wrong to do it any other way.
Yeah, but why we do that? That's still an American thing. I mean, it was Stan Lee that, and Kirby that came up with it. So it's not like it's, I don't know. But anyway, moving on.
It's like whenever I hear a Canadian voice cast, and there are many talented people in the Canadian voice acting world. They gave us Beast Wars. They gave us many other Reboot, Shadow Warriors, all the rest of it. It's still the cheap option. Whenever I hear the Canadian voice cast on something that is very typically an American production, like you can get much more American than a Marvel Comics animated film. I just know, hey, they cheaped out.
Yeah.
They went for the cheap option up in Canada.
So how do I quickly run through this? I mean, essentially, Thor and Loki stow away with the Warriors 3 to go on their adventure, which turns out they just go to a bar for a while and then come back and steal other people's stories. But they end up getting in this huge...
Volstagg was in charge of this quest.
Yeah, exactly. So they end up getting into a huge bar fight, and getting the Warriors 3 to actually help them go to get this sword. So they end up going to Jotunheim. And
swear to God, I've been pronouncing that Jotunheim for years, and in the space of like 1 month, I've had 3 different cartoons and films tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah, it's Jotunheim. Anyway, so they go to Jotunheim. They find the sword by piecing together their father's stories. Then, in the process of trying to leave, they end up killing 2 frost giants. That reignites the war, and then they're trying to get back, and the dark elf house servant offers to go and get them, and then when he finds them, after they went and saw the Valkyries, who are apparently in this cartoon are Amazons.
That's weird.
I don't...
in there in the middle.
And that just doesn't make... I mean, are the Valkyries really like the Amazons in the Marvel U? Because they're not like that in the mythology, and it doesn't make any sense.
I'm not sure with that one.
And Brunhilde has issues.
Yeah. Well,
Marvel Brunhilde does have issues.
So then they go and they're into the Dark Elf territory, and then the servant guy finds them, and then he takes the sword because it turns out he's really mad at Odin because Odin didn't save his people. And yeah, it's just, and then I don't know. They end up getting the sword back from him, and Loki kills the Dark Elf guy.
That was awesome.
And they end up stopping the frost giants from attacking Asgard more. And everybody's happy.
Does this feel like it was designed like a prequel to the movie or something? Like
they held off on this for a long time. This was supposed to be out. So there was a trailer for this on the Planet Hulk DVD. And
I remember the trailer for it.
There's a 2009 copyright in the credits.
But it directly
held off on this.
But it directly contradicts some of the stuff like from the movie. Like I get the feeling in this that this Thor is ready to be the Thor that he is at the end of the movie. Mm-hmm. So,
See, that is, but I mean, that's the perennial problem with trying to tell stories of young Thor, because in order to create any kind of a well-rounded story with a likable character and a moral or any kind of natural endpoint, he has to learn a lesson. But the whole point of young Thor is that he doesn't.
Right.
He's a little bastard.
Right. So,
but, I mean, the Son of Asgard comic, it was only 12 issues long. But it was about Thor trying to prove himself worthy of Mjolnir. And I'm like, why is that not what this film did? The stakes aren't very high in this. Mm. It's just basically, this is more of a summation, but I'll say it now anyway. Planet Hulk brought the Marvel movies up to DC quality level. Planet Hulk was great.
Yeah. Planet Hulk was awesome.
This just knocked them right back down.
Yeah.
I mean, that's disappointing.
There's nothing's at stake. You have like another pending war with the frost giants that may or may not happen. Loki in this is completely uninteresting. Other than the end.
Maybe the reason they held on to this was because they didn't want to put it out, and they thought, well, if we're going to make any money off of this, we got to put it out around Thor.
They would have put it out. They just held off on it to capitalize on the Thor film is all it is. I mean, it's a kind of a functional prequel, you know. It shows the truce between the frost giants in place and everything, and the same beats are there, you know. It just seems to me that if they wanted to make it any kind of stakes at all, the logical thing to do would have been for Thor to, because that's basically where the film ends anyway, with Thor having learned a lesson and being a better person for it. It would have made more sense to me if they'd done what the Son of Asgard comic did, which was end it with him proving himself worthy and being able to lift Mjolnir.
Yeah, that would have been interesting and a good tie-in.
That would have been a bit. I mean, you know, I think that the final act of this film was pretty good anyway. It was the most exciting part of the film, definitely. But it just seemed like I don't know why it's not like they're going to produce a bunch more films about young Thor that they're going to want to slip in around this. It should have ended with him proving himself worthy of the hammer, thereby justifying the fact that he's learned the lesson. I mean, because, you know, that's like young Thor. He has to be a decent little guy at one point, so he can pick up the hammer. Then he just turns progressively into a bastard over time.
But here's my problem with it. There was nothing about it that was really distinctive in terms of Marvel Thor. Like, you could have renamed the king. You could have renamed the characters, and really not. I mean, it really wouldn't have affected the story.
That was my big problem with it, was that there was nothing really mythological about it at all. You know, it was just
they had
generic.
Pegasus. They had
Yes, they had flying horses.
But there was nothing. Yeah, there were mythical elements, but there was nothing mythical in the scope of the thing. I don't like. It's something I've just, for whatever reason, I've been given cause to think about what I like out of fiction recently. And I don't like fantasy. I don't care for sword and sorcery and quests and magic and all that. It's not my bag. Lord of the Rings, no thanks, not for me. I don't care. I don't like that sort of thing. But that's all this was. You know, I'm loving Journey into Mystery because that is the mythological scope. You know, the malleability of reality, the power of words, the idea of handed down tales, and it's everything about that screams myth. That's what that is, and I like that. And there's a very fine line between that and just straight up fantasy that I admit is pretty hard to define, but I know what I like. And this was just generic fantasy. So it just really did very little for me. If you like fantasy, you'll probably enjoy this more than I did. But there was, you know, the fact that if he'd lifted Mjolnir at the end, I would probably have redeemed part of it for me. But ultimately, it was just people on a quest looking for a magic sword.
Yeah, Is there any mention of Mjolnir in it, or
you see it
they
briefly
see it at the start and says, "You ain't worthy of that, and you never will be."
Yeah, basically. So I mean, you really could. I mean, but my thing is like you could rename it King Alphon, and it could be, you know, his son John and Jeff, and you know.
They go up west. Yeah, there's nothing.
There's nothing that makes it Thor. Yeah. So. That's ultimately, I think, what the real downfall of it is.
It's fine, you know. It's a decent wee story, but
it doesn't connect me to the Marvel universe of Thor, and it doesn't even connect me to the mythological version of Thor because there's so many things. I mean, you can't connect it to the mythology because there's so many things that happen outside the mythology anyway, which is fine. That's the way the Marvel universe. Right, and so I would be okay with it if this felt like it was grounded in the Marvel universe. But it didn't even feel grounded in the Marvel universe. So it's like it was a double throwaway for me.
I think they should have just waited a little bit longer for the release from the movie to this. Because so many people are freshly know Thor from the movie. They should probably waited like September, October, you know.
But a wait isn't going to make this a better story. No, I mean, that's not going to help it. I mean, this
should have put this out before people were rich in goodly Thor.
Yeah, exactly. Because if they would have watched this and then go watch Thor, I mean, the Thor movie seems that much better. But this, comparing it to the Thor movie, it just feels completely disconnected and cheap. So
I will
It's a
give them
pretty-
this. I did like the Valkyries target practice mummies.
Yeah,
God.
that did make me laugh. You know,
Yeah.
there was
That
definitely
was funny.
some stuff in there that made me laugh, and it was all the Warriors 3 too. The Warriors 3 were very well done in this. I really enjoyed the Warriors 3 in it.
yeah, yeah. But you know, like I said, it wasn't terrible. I mean, it wasn't like I was wanting to throw things at it. But you know, on the other hand, it just
there was
wasn't.
some things like this side story of Sif that didn't even have.
Yeah,
any-
it didn't seem to have any point.
No.
It's just thrown in there, you know, maybe to get the female element into the story. But
Yeah, that's what I think.
Completely side question, Mufila. I had asked this on Twitter earlier. Do you know why the Marvel universe version of Sif has black hair instead of blonde?
It grew back black after it got cut out.
Oh, is that in the myth? I don't remember that being in the myth.
I don't know if it's in. I don't think it's in the myth, but that's why she has black hair. It came back black.
So when are they saying it was cut out? I mean, so there again, if that's the case,
well,
then
it's like whatever, you know, it's like
Yeah.
the malleability of legend as
Right.
far as these things go. It's like one telling says that Loki cut her hair out, so that's what happened somewhere, maybe, possibly.
for those
She
that
has
don't
black hair.
know, after she was married to Thor, I believe, Loki, in a fit of mischief, this is in the mythology, shaved her head, or like cut her hair off. And he had to actually go to the dwarves and get them to weave a like golden wig for her to like replace her hair.
Well, I mean, I speaking of Thor, you know, speaking of good Thor, I just watched the Thor and Loki Blood Brothers.
I told you that was good.
Yeah, that's top quality, and that is one of the. Again, I really love that because it is good, strong mythological stuff, and it also centers quite closely on the malleability of legend and the telling of tales, where Balder talks about how when he walked through Death's realm at one point, after Loki orchestrated his death in an attempt to bring about Ragnarok, he saw out across all of time and saw all the versions of Loki that myth speaks of. He saw Loki bound beneath the tree. He saw Loki as a woman birthing Hela, birthing Sleipnir, all these different things from myth that don't fit together and certainly don't work in the Marvel universe. So it invests, and again, the story was, you know, you can go watch it yourselves or pick up the trade paper, the hardcover that's just come out, Thor and Loki Blood Brothers. But basically, it's set in a story where Loki, as the story begins, Loki has succeeded. Loki has defeated Thor and conquered Asgard, and is finding the bureaucracy of actually having to run a kingdom a very depressing thing. And whenever Balder tells him this tale of all the Lokis that he has seen, every Loki out there has been defeated, and always winds up with the same fate. So much like the Loki miniseries, or like what was that other thing? Or like what Kieran Gillen's been doing with the character. It's about Loki trying to fight fate and try to not be who he is, trying to fight the inevitable destiny that his role as a god of evil brings upon him.
Nice.
So well worth checking out, and hell
See,
of
I
a
think
better
that's-
severe time than this.
That's another thing that this movie missed out on. They could have played younger Loki so well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they drop in a few cute gags here and there. It's like they're walking
Yeah,
through
gags,
Jotunheim
but
and
not-
oh, I'm freezing, and like, but Loki, you're fine, and he's like, well, I must be tougher than you, and that's it, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah, but not typical Loki
I mean,
stuff.
and the final beat with Loki was pretty cool as well. You know, that was the one bit in the movie. I'm not going to spoil what it was, but it's just the final bit of the fight against Algrim, where it made me go, "Oh, damn! Oh,
Yeah.
that was awesome!" You know, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But you know, they didn't play with the. It's kind of it's something that relies on a viewer's foreknowledge of what Loki will be. They don't set it up through any kind of progressive use of the character or any duality that the film establishes. It's just a moment that relies entirely on you knowing what Loki
in
is.
this movie, it felt like Loki was just Thor's sidekick.
Totally,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah,
Baldric to his Blackadder.
yeah. So,
Man,
All right.
that's disappointing.
yeah, it was. It
Really
could have.
Some good points into it.
Then,
It
yeah,
was
there
average.
are points. It was watchable certainly, but it
Mhm.
was.
Yeah, but after Planet Hulk, I don't want watchable. I want something
It was
that's gonna
right back into the
like
levels
kick,
of
kick,
the
kick
Ultimate
the
Avengers.
DC universe in the balls and say, "Hey, look, it's a Marvel animated film."
Yeah.
You know?
Because I mean, Marvel is really like dominating DC in media and cartoons basically at the moment. And this is the one avenue where they're just not managing to beat them out. Planet Hulk looked like they'd really made the push and lifted that medium up to that level, but well, I don't know. Maybe this was made before Planet Hulk, and they held back on releasing it. Maybe that's the reason. Maybe whatever the next one is will be great.
Hope so.
But this just didn't quite live up to the standard set by Planet Hulk.
Yeah. So, anyway, well, hey, there you go. Yeah, that's the review.
We're a little more
Like I said,
negative.
I would give it an average rating, a C rating out of giving it a grade.
C plus.
I mean, it wasn't horrible, but what we
The
did in
animation.
past-
Yeah.
It gets 2 spider farts.
Right. It gets 2 pheromone farts out of
Pheromone
4.
farts.
We'll never live that down. So,
I don't want to get hate mail because of it.
but no hate mail. It's all love. All pheromone fart love. So,
If they ever make a Spider-Woman movie, they need to put that in.
there you go. We'll talk to Marvel about doing that. Yeah.
We'll talk to Marvel. They just won't listen.
We'll just write that in.
Is there anything sexier than a woman in skin-tight latex farting pheromones? Come on.
Farting
think
love
about it.
pheromones
That's
on you,
hot.
controlling you
It'd probably
with her
get all
farts.
stuck in there and
Yeah, that's it.
touch oven.
Well, and that's what's really, it's like, and then she like sits down, and then she stands up, and then you get another dose of the pheromones, But, anyway.
Next week.
So, next week on this show, lots of stuff. I saw that all 3 Green Lantern issues are coming out
crazy.
next week. So guess who's going to be talking about that? This guy. Not much, not a lot else though, is there? I mean, what else is...
I can't remember anything else major that I'm picking
I can't
up.
remember what's on my pull list.
Yeah, so there'll be a couple of things, but I did see that so nice of DC to dump all 3 of those on 1 week.
I think Walking
Hey,
Dead comes out next week. Find out if his kid's still alive.
I'm going to go with yes. I'm going to go with it's going to get drug out. So, yeah. But anyway, hey, thanks for joining us again. We do this show live every Sunday, 4:30 Eastern. You should join us for the live show because you can be here live watching us while we're talking about Fart Pheromones or any of the other comics or things that we're reviewing.
Other things.
Probably the other things, most likely. But what time is that Greenwich Mean Time, McFeely?
9:30.
9:30. So
here.
9:30 if you're in England, because we know we've got a lot of English listeners. Let me ask you a favor. If you aren't following us on Twitter, either Fanboy VS or TF Radio, I suggest that you do that. And if you are doing that, we always tweet out when the show is going to start or about the time that we're starting. Do us a big favor and retweet that for us. We know that there's, if we know that you all probably have a lot of friends who are geeks or maybe into comics or doing those things, and we want to reach out. We want to share our fart pheromones with them. So tweet. If you would, just hit that retweet button when we're tweeting that stuff out and get some other people maybe to join us live.
Fart pheromones. If you want to hear about it,
Yeah,
come listen to the podcast.
As of right now, we've had 49 views today. That's awesome. We really appreciate it. But
Fanboy versus good taste.
yeah, I mean, we know good taste here on Fanboy Versus.
Childish humor.
So yeah,
Kind.
yeah. So anyway, again, thanks so much for joining us. Again, the website to join us live is tfradio.net/live. Our website is fanboyversus.com. You can check everything out there about the show, about us, our Twitter feeds, all that good stuff. So anyway, again, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in, and please tune in next time when it'll be Fanboy Versus.
This has been Fanboy Versus. Visit us at tfradio.net for show notes and to subscribe to the podcast. Follow us on Twitter at tfradio for news and updates. Like the podcast? Leave us feedback on iTunes. Copyright 2011 Radio Free Cybertron.